The improbable odyssey was complete. The St. Louis Rams have become the champions of professional football. Now from the Super Bowl, it's on to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii for the NFL's best players. The NFC team is headlined by the big kahuna himself, Kurt Warner, the Super Bowl's MVP. Isaac Bruce is hanging loose, and Marshall Faulk is decompressing. The stars of the AFC are here as well. Indianapolis quarterback Peyton Manning is taking it all in his Pro Bowl debut. Edgerrin James is celebrating his solid gold season. And Eddie George readies himself for one final performance. The NFL's best are on display in the 50th state when the National Football Conference meets the American Football Conference in the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl.
In Hawaii tonight. Hit it. Come on and hit it. Come on and get ready. Are you ready for some football? A superstar party. Yeah, this is Hank and I'm ready to get this big blast started. Let's get those helmets crashing. The islands ignite. The NFL Pro Bowl is coming on. That's right. Let's launch this thing now!
Typically gorgeous day in the Hawaiian Islands as you look at Waikiki Beach and Diamond Head. Temperature near 80, light trade winds, and a capacity crowd will fill Aloha Stadium for the 21st consecutive season the Pro Bowl comes to Hawaii. Welcome everyone to Honolulu. Al Michaels with Boomer Esiason, and in this National Football League season, a changing of the guard obviously with St. Louis and Tennessee in the Super Bowl and the Rams winning it, and a changing of the guard always seems to be the theme in the Pro Bowl, perhaps never more so than this year. 86 players in uniform today, 41 of them in a Pro Bowl for the first time, and the Rams will be represented by 6 starters and 8 players on the NFC roster. In terms of a changing of the guard at quarterback, the quarterbacks last year, the starters were John Elway and Steve Young. Today, Kurt Warner and the Colts' Peyton Manning. It's the AFC against the NFC. The Pro Bowl from Hawaii coming right up.
In our family, men lose their hair early.
Back at Aloha Stadium, well, Boomer Esiason has played in 4 of these games. And Boomer, let's talk about the quarterbacks. Everybody knew coming out of college that someday Peyton Manning would be in the Pro Bowl, but here he is a starter in just his second season.
He's off to a great start, Al. The 1998 first-round pick overall for the Indianapolis Colts. Threw for over 4,000 yards this season. Bill Polian and Jim Moore, everybody is happy to have him in Colts uniform. Today he's joined by Edgerrin James, as you said, the first rookie since Eric Dickerson to lead the NFL in rushing. So they are very well versed for the future.
Meanwhile, as far as the NFC is concerned, what odds do you think you could have gotten before the season that Kurt Warner would be the starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl?
Well, fresh off his trip from Disney World, he's here now trying to make it a trifecta. The Super Bowl MVP, the regular season MVP. He too threw for over 4,000 yards, and he's joined by Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce and Orlando Pace in the starting unit today. But the big difference, no Mike Martz calling the plays. I don't know what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have for him, but we'll see what they got.
Not today, but for Warner, it's the Super Bowl, it's Disney World, it's the Pro Bowl. Life is good. It's very good. Back with the kickoff after this. Beautiful day, just about ready for the kickoff. But first, let's go down to the NFC sideline and Leslie Visser. Aloha, Leslie.
Aloha nui loa, Alan Boomer. Well, I am with Tony Dungy. Tony, pressure is on. The NFC has lost the last 3 Pro Bowls. What is your strategy today?
Well, we've talked about that. We want to see if we can put some points on the board. We've got a lot of big-time offensive players, so hopefully we can outscore them.
Well, we'll probably see Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce on the field together.
Yeah, you have to go with the starters first, but after that, we're going to try to get the quarterbacks
in with their backs and receivers, we think that'll give us an edge.
See if it works. For more on the AFC, let's go over to Dan.
Thank you, Leslie. Tom Coughlin, you've been the winning coach in this game before, but probably not with so many newcomers. What did you tell the first-timers?
We got a lot of new young kids that are excited. They're wide-eyed. You know, they want to do the right thing. Come Sunday, they're ready to play.
Good luck, Tom.
Thank you.
Al, Tom told me off camera that he wants to put 62 on the NFC.
He knows how to do it.
Al, did I hear Tony Dungy say we have to outscore them?
Did I hear
That
Leslie?
is very out of character for him.
Did I hear Leslie say aloha nui aloha? We'll have to give her an interpretation of that in the commercial break. Here we go from Honolulu with the NFC receiving. Olindo Mate to kick off, and it's taken 4 yards in the end zone by Glenn Milburn of the Chicago Bears. And the one-time Stanford star brings it back out to the 23-yard line. Kurt Warner, a backup in preseason. Trent Green gets hurt, and you know the rest. And this is the way it ends for him in the 1999 season on February 6, 2000 in Hawaii. Kurt Warner, the Super Bowl MVP. He has his running mate with him. Falk Allstott will be the blocking back in the opening set. Bruce and Carter outside, and Walls is the tight end. Pace, McDaniel, Christie, Johnson, and Rofe up front. And on first down, they swing it to the outside, and that's a play right out of the Ram playbook, except Chris Carter makes the catch instead of Isaac Bruce. Sam Madison with the coverage. Up front defensively for the AFC, Brackens, Russell, Price, and the rookie Javon Curse of the Titans. Hardy, Thomas, and Boulware are the linebackers. Madison and Charles Woodson are the corners. Malloy and Lake are the safeties. Rod Woodson is also here as a backup corner, the longtime Steeler, now a Baltimore Raven. On 2nd and 7, it is caught by Marshall Falk up at the 33-yard line, very close to a first down.
And now let's remember that this game is built for the passing. The defenses have to play a 4-down line scheme, 3 linebackers, and 4 secondary players, and those secondary players can only be lined up in certain situations as man coverage or 3 deep zones. So Kurt Warner and his fleet of wide receivers should have a big game today.
Warner with a first down up at the 33-yard line in the opening minute of the game, and there's some action up front. As coming across the line of scrimmage was Darrell Russell of the Raiders.
The other thing too is there is no blitzing. The linebackers are not supposed to blitz. There's no stunting on the defensive line.
Offsides, number 95, defense unabated to the quarterback, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And having played in a few of those games, you could see these rules right here. They are broken from time to time by defenses.
They are, but the NFL has a couple of observers upstairs who can overturn certain illegal formations and such. Dave Adolph is up in the booth upstairs as Marshall Falk picks up 2. There is no replay in the Pro Bowl, so that is not in effect today. However, upstairs they can communicate to the umpire, and in case of, for instance, you had 3 receivers set to one side as we had a couple of years ago, it can be overturned by the observer.
And remember, one of the reasons that these rules are placed in here like this is to protect the players. These offensive linemen have never played together with each other, so they don't know different calls, and they don't have a lot of time to install an offense, so they want to keep it simple.
2nd down and 3. Warner going deep, but nobody home. The coverage is good. Isaac Bruce, the intended receiver, and of course that's the combination that won the Super Bowl last week, and Sam Madison, who is the first ever Dolphin cornerback to play in a Pro Bowl game with the coverage.
You can see that Sam Madison cuts Bruce off, and sometimes you're a quarterback, you take a shot, and that's what he did in the Super Bowl, and that's what he did right there. But the effects in the Super Bowl obviously different. I was talking to a few of the Titans during the practices this week, Al, about that 73-yard touchdown pass, and they said that if Javon Curse hadn't gotten there, that they thought that that ball would not have been underthrown and it would have not been a completed pass.
That's a good point. 3rd down and 3, and that's through the fingertips of Randy Moss. That would have been a first down up at the 48. Couldn't hold on, covered by Charles Woodson. I think that's an excellent point because the pass was underthrown. Bruce had to adjust on it, and he was able to thread his way through. Denard Walker fell down, and we know the rest.
Well, and those things happen. This ball gets away from Kurt Warner a little bit, and tough catch for Randy Moss. But when you think about that, those are the types of things that all games have in them. One play here, one play there. If it goes a little bit one way or another, then the other team has an opportunity to win. And that was a great play by Javon Curse, forcing Kurt Warner to underthrow that football.
Mitch Berger of the Vikings with a line drive caught by Tremaine Mack of the Bengals to the 21-yard line. And Mack brings it all the way out to the 46, a 25-yard run back.
Good to see that helmet in the old game again. You know, Al,
that's right.
That Bengal helmet.
Cincinnati represented by 2 guys here today. 2 more than a few other teams. Manning in the AFC with the ball. We're back.
See the
21st year that the Pro Bowl has been held here. First came to Hawaii in 1980, and the league has extended its deal with the people running the show here in the 50th state, at least through 2005. Peyton Manning in his 2nd year in the National Football League guided the Colts to a 13-3 mark. James and Gash in the backfield, Harrison and Smith outside, and Gonzalez of Kansas City is the tight end. Ogden, Bruce Matthews, Kevin Mawai, Reuben Brown, and Leon Searcy up front. Tom Nalen would have been the starter at center of the Broncos, but he's hurt. There have been some changes, and we'll get to them through the course of the game. Some guys in, some guys out, some guys missing it because of upcoming surgery.
I was talking to Bruce Matthews. This is obviously his 17th year, Al. And the fact that he actually has to play another football game, it just struck me as unique. Asking him, did you ever think about not playing in this game? He said, it never crossed my mind. I want to be here, and I want to be with these guys.
He would know what it was like not to play, as he was one of those guys, one of the 2 guys who played in every game in the 90s, as Jimmy Smith of the Jaguars makes the catch and gets the ball into NFC territory. Let's take a look at the NFC defensive line. Carter led the league in sacks with 17. Sapp and Ellis inside, and Strahan of the Giants the other defensive end. Brooks, Nickerson, and Armstead are the linebackers, and Light and Williams at the corners. Lynch and Schulters are the safeties for the NFC. 2nd down 4 from the 48-yard line as Manning slings it, intercepted at the 40 by Aeneas Williams of the Arizona Cardinals. Manning can't get him, and Williams all the way for a touchdown.
Coaches told us during the week that they wanted to have their quarterbacks playing with their wide receivers, and that time a little bit of a mix-up between Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. This is a simple little turn-in pattern, and Peyton throws it behind Aeneas Williams, and Aeneas just seems to be getting better and better each year. Take a look at this. You can see right now Aeneas Williams is reading the pattern. He stops, he adjusts, and he goes after the football, and Marvin Harrison falls down. Well, you would think that there would be better communications between the 2 Indianapolis Colts players, but obviously none on that play.
Williams runs it back 62 yards. Jason Hanson of the Lions for the point after. And how about the collective bob and weave? I think that was, or a variation thereof after the touchdown.
So now you know what they're doing on the beach during the week.
Yes. 7-0 NFC. Aeneas Williams loves to play in a Pro Bowl, Boomer. It's one of the few times that a quarterback will go after him. They throw away from him so much that he only had 2 interceptions during the regular season, only 1 last year, 41 in his career with Arizona.
The 1 year that I played in Arizona, practicing against him was incredible because he was going full speed every play. This guy knows how to play the game. He's a professional. He's a tremendous practice player as well as a game player.
There he is. He ran it back 62 yards. 7-0 NFC as Jason Hanson will kick off. Tremaine Mack of the Bengals to run it back. On each team there is a special teamer, run back specialist, and then there's what they call a need player. Coach can select after the initial choices are made a defensive end or a linebacker, and there is Detron Smith, who is the special teamer for the AFC. Mack is the run back specialist. Smith, the special teamer, and then you have to fill out the rest of your special teams with guys who are not used to
who
playing
don't want to play
teams.
special teams. And usually the MVP of the team is the kicker who can kick the ball into the end zone so guys don't have to tackle and block.
Now Michael Bates is on the special teams. He's on the other end. He'll be running back kicks and also down for the coverage as Jason Hansen puts it in the air. Good deep kick. Mack 1 yard in, and Mack, after that big punt run back, takes this one back out to the 34, where he's tackled by Wesley Walls to the sideline. We go, and Leslie Visser.
Al, he already has a Peyton Manning interception. Pretty good, Aeneas. How did it happen?
Oh, wow. It's just, man, just blessed to read the pattern read and just listen to my coach, Herman Edwards. He's done a great job since we've been at the Pro Bowl.
What about for you? Are you tired of coming to this Pro Bowl and not the Super Bowl?
Not tired of coming here, but definitely want to go to the Super Bowl. And I just admire the Rams, and it just gives us hope out there in Arizona.
One last thing, when you played with Boomer, did you used to intercept him during practice?
Yes, Boomer did a thing on Fridays. He kind of got the DBs ready for the game, so I definitely got a couple of his.
He gave you the ball. Back to you, Al.
It was strictly designed to make them feel good, okay? How to get their mindset right.
You got them primed.
Well, when you talk about Arizona, Al, they have some pretty good players out there, and if they can get Jake Plummer straightened out and they can get that offense straightened out, their defense is one of the better, more active defenses in the NFL.
And defense is dominated, as you can see. This is one of those games through the course of history, a lot more interceptions than touchdown passes. 2nd down and 6. James swinging to the outside. Edger and James, and you'll recall the situation with him. Everybody thought Ricky Williams would be the first running back drafted. And the Colts surprised everybody by picking James, and it turned out to be a great pick.
No, it was a great pick, but also remember they traded Marshall Faulk and only got a 2nd and a 5th back in return from the St. Louis Rams. Well, one of the reasons that there are a lot of interceptions in this game is because quarterbacks and receivers usually are not on the same page. It's easy to read the coverages because they can only play 2 different coverages. The problem is because they're not on the same page, they don't understand each other very well.
Mark Brunell will be the next quarterback in. Manning hanging in, throws, and making the catches. Keyshawn Johnson, who picks up the first down. He got the first down and then got a ride back toward the Diamond Head end zone from Aeneas Williams and Jesse Armstead. Notice the way you don't call it east and west here, Boomer. As we look at it left to right, the Diamond Head end zone is to the right and the Eva end zone is to the left.
Take a look at Keyshawn Johnson here pushing off. They're actually calling this offensive pass interference. It's probably the only way you can get Aeneas Williams off you is by pushing him off you. But Al, you would know about that because you actually worked here for 3 years covering the Hawaiian Islanders,
That's right.
The minor league baseball team.
And did the University of Hawaii football and basketball. And in fact, Dom Capers with Tom Coughlin, there is Dom. Dom was an assistant coach at the University of Hawaii in 1975 and was a coach in the first game ever played in this stadium, Hawaii against Texas A&I. 3rd down and 16 from the 28-yard line as Manning sets up, going deep, and that is tipped and incomplete. That one was almost intercepted. Derek Brooks got a hand on it, flicked it away.
Well, there's a special player right there. You saw in the NFC Championship game against the St. Louis Rams just how valuable Derek Brooks was, making tackles, not allowing Marshall Faulk to get involved in the offense, and you could see his ability to go back and make plays downfield like that. A special breed of player in the NFL. Look at that ability going up after that football.
Now, Tom Tupa, whose wife is expecting, the due date is Wednesday, so he'll go back right after the game. A great punt to the 15-yard line, fielded by Milburn, and Glenn brings it back out to the 36-yard line. That Tupa punt was 57 yards. And then Milburn running it back out to the 37.
What's up, New Orleans?
7-0 NFC. A reminder, Saturday on ABC, college basketball. A good one as the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Or Villanova against St. John's at Saturday, 1:30 Eastern and 12:30 Central, right here on ABC. Hey, Joe Montana, new Hall of Famer. We'll be talking to him before the day is done. 2000 inductee. All the new Hall of Famers will be here as Emmitt Smith takes it up to the 40-yard line for a gain of 3, tackled there by Mo Lewis.
So Al, how long did it take you to come down after last week's Super Bowl?
That was just a wonderful, it's one of those games, Boomer, you and I had talked about it beforehand. We knew it had the potential to be such a great matchup, and then it was. I mean, that fourth quarter, that was one for the ages.
It really was. And talking to all of these players here, especially the Rams and Titan players, I don't sense that much of a disappointment from the Titans. I think they felt like they gave it everything they had and had every opportunity to win the football game.
They did. Emmitt Smith takes it out to the 44. In fact, we're going to talk to Dick Vermeil at halftime today. He'll join us from his home in St. Louis. Dick announcing his retirement 2 days later. I had a chance to talk to Dick on the phone earlier. He said, as a coach, you wanted to blow the other team out. But now that it's over, now that we've won, I guess it was great for the game and great for the sport.
Well, that's the way I felt after Super Bowl 23 when we lost to the 49ers. You give so much to the game and you lose it at the end. And because the game is close, you would think that the cut is a little bit deeper, but you certainly don't want to get blown out. That's not the way to go.
On 3rd and 3, Chris Carter makes the catch, close to a first down to the sideline, and Dan Fouts. Dan?
Thank you, Al. Peyton, this is your first Pro Bowl, but you've been to this game before, right?
Well, I have. It was 20 years ago, Dan. In 1980, when my dad made the Pro Bowl, I was 4 years old, came out, and I see all the other players kids. Think of myself, and so it's a lot of fun to come back as a player.
And what advice will he have for you after you throw that pick for the touchdown, though?
Well,
there's no answer. There's just no answer.
What happened?
Well, listen, we've all thrown them, and we've all had them run back for a touchdown.
Absolutely.
All right, back up to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Dan. First down from the 47.
Oh, you got to love Dan ambushing Peyton Manning.
And Warner going deep from Moss, and Moss just makes a fabulous catch, and it will be 1st and goal at the 6-yard line with Sam Madison providing the coverage somehow, some way. Well, I shouldn't really say that because we've seen Moss do that before, but he does it again here, 48 yards.
Sam Madison right there on the spot. He was trying to plead his case to the official that he thought that Randy Moss had pushed off a little bit, but how many times have we seen these great receivers go down? The ball gets underthrown. You can see Sam Madison right there, but look at the size difference between the two players. And that's incidental contact, and that's a good call by the official, but this is what you do in the NFL nowadays. You can see just throw it up, let these, right off the head of Sam Madison, it looks like, let these great receivers go up and make a play for you.
Moss, just tremendous concentration. 1st and goal from the 5-yard line, and a whistle before the snap. Tom White is the referee.
Penalty, first down.
Not an uncommon call in a game like this after a big play like that to get down there and try to get it off before the play clock.
Take a look
down.
at this ball. It looks like it hits right off of Sam Madison's head. You can't see it from that angle, but take a look at this angle. We'll always give you good pictures, and here it is, right here, right off of the top of his helmet.
1st and goal through the middle. They give it to Stephen Davis of the Washington Redskins for a gain of 2. Davis, one of those guys who's a little dinged, but he's still playing. By the way, let's mention too, we all know the story with Ray Lewis, the Baltimore linebacker, who right now is in an Atlanta jail. He would have been a starter in this game. Of course, his lawyer this week said he was a horrified bystander who didn't know 2 men had been killed outside a lounge in Atlanta following the Pro Bowl, but that is the disposition of his situation right now following the Super Bowl, as it is caught here by Chris Carter, and he is out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Junior Seau is the guy who was named to the AFC team as a backup linebacker in place of Lewis, and there is Junior.
Now, sooner or later, these players are going to have to realize who they're hanging out with and the situations they're finding themselves in. And you really don't know who your friends are. And the NFL does a great job of trying to teach these young players who become millionaires early on in their career what the pitfalls are. And they're not listening, or at least some of them are not listening. This is not a blanket statement for the entire league. There are 99% of the guys are quality citizens.
Here's a fade on 3rd and goal. Looking for a flag is Moss. Finds none.
And you could see Moss arguing about Sam Madison. But to go back to my point, is that the league makes sure that you know as a football player before every season starts, they sit you down in a meeting, talk to you about finances, they talk to you about off the field problems, drugs, women, you name it. And a lot of these players pay attention to that. It's just those few players that get themselves caught up in a situation with people who they think are their friends. And if Ray Lewis is innocent, then his friends will come to his defense and make sure that everybody knows.
Jason Hansen now for a 21-yard field goal attempt. Mitch Berger to do the holding. And a nice hold by Berger because he juggled the snap. Wesley Walls with the snap, which may have been a little low, but Berger got it down. Hansen makes it pay off. Moss the big play, the 48-yard reception, and the NFC leads by a score of 10-0. Nice job by Mitch Berger. Boomer, will you love me when my carburetor's busted? That was an old Hawaiian ditty. 10-0 NFC. The kick goes down to the 4-yard line. This is Tremaine Mack bringing it back out to the 31. Tackled there by Michael Bates. This Wednesday, these guys are going up on the auction block for one wild night. Catch a brand new 2 guys and a girl. 8 Eastern, 7 Central. That's Wednesday right here on ABC. And Howie Long
going to get the pretzels and hot dogs for the family.
Howie with the Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott, Dave Wilcox, and Dan Rooney, the
number 57 on the kicking team. That penalty is declined. They'll take the result of the play. First down.
Dan Rooney, the president of the Steelers, is one of the new Hall of Fame inductees who is not here.
Did you see Howie's calves? Did you see how muscular they are? It looks like he can still play.
He could. Still in great shape. Meanwhile, Tremaine Mack was shaken up, the run back specialist for the AFC, and they work on Tremaine on the sideline. Now Mark Brunell is in the game of the Jaguars, and he's going to go deep on the very first play, and he tries to link with his teammate Jimmy Smith, and that's incomplete. So the 2 Jaguars try to get together, covered by Troy Vincent of the Eagles. Let's check in with Leslie.
Al, as you guys know, if you were going to start an NFL defense, you might start with this guy, 8 times All-Pro at 3 different positions: cornerback, safety, and strong safety. Ronnie, congratulations to you, Ronnie Lott. Do you think of yourself as a safety or a cornerback?
I think of myself as a football player, and that's how you got to look at it right now, especially being inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Was it true that both you and Joe Montana were nervous?
Of course.
How so?
How so? Because I think the thing that you understand is that you don't talk about just going in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? You don't talk about it. It's one of those things that Joe talked about. He says, yeah, I talked about throwing touchdown passes in the Super Bowl, but I never talked about going in the Hall of Fame. And I think that that's the 2 of us, we never talked about it, and we were nervous. And yes, we sat there, I think it was Thursday, holding each other's hands.
What was the commitment that you felt all the 49ers had to each other?
That was a great thing that we did have to each other, is that we gave a lot of each other. And it's interesting is I had a chance to talk to some of the guys here. They still give, and you get that emotion from these guys being here at the Pro Bowl. But that was the special thing with the 49ers. We always gave of ourselves. Joe gave a lot. A number of players, Jerry Rice, my buddy Charles Haley. Hey man, I love you. And he gave a lot, and we just had that unbelievable desire to want to help each other be champions.
Well, it's been a privilege to watch you. Thanks, Ronnie. Back to you guys.
Yeah, very little doubt that Ronnie Lott would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Meanwhile, Jesse Armstead on the last play with a defensive hold and an automatic first down for the AFC up at the 40-yard line.
I had the honor of having the locker next to Ronnie when we were with the New York Jets, and there wasn't a more intense football player, Al.
He was great to watch from the 40-yard line. This is Eddie George picking up a couple.
But when things were going wrong, he always wanted to have a team meeting. He always wanted to get up in front of the guys and tell them what's going on, and this is what we have to do. And he was trying to enforce the 49er way of doing things on players who were too young to even understand what he was talking about.
It was a perfect melding when Bill Walsh took over and Montana was a draft selection in '79. But then when he went out and he got Ronnie Lott and Carlton Williamson and Eric Wright in that secondary to go with Montana on the other side of the ball, That made the difference. Marvin Harrison for a first down. So Marvin Harrison couldn't get together with Peyton Manning, but then Brunell comes into the game, and the Jaguar and the Colt find the right chemistry.
Well, these quarterbacks should have it easy. They should know where the holes in the secondary are. They're not changing very often. Now it's up to the receivers just to be sharp on their routes and allow the quarterback to deliver the ball decisively.
Each coach telling us yesterday that the quarterbacks would rotate. Each would play 2 series. And George takes it to the 41-yard line. The running backs as well. One of the reason you have Dungy and Coughlin here is that the team that loses each of the respective conferences championship games provides the coaching staff for the Pro Bowl. Kind of a bittersweet thing. I mean, it's a great trip and they love to be here, but it also means you were the runner-up in your conference.
Even a tougher week for Tony Dungy, who had to let go of his offensive coordinator, Mike Shula, during their week out here in Hawaii. So unlike Tony Dungy, which makes me think that it came down from upstairs, that the ownership and the general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably said, look, you know, we want to bring back your entire staff, but we want to make a change with your offensive coordinator. And talking to Tony about that this week, it was very hard for him to talk about it. He just couldn't really bring himself to talk about what had happened and what had transpired when they first got here.
Especially the timing as well, because Mike was already here. He's Eddie George picking up 3 yards.
Well, the big thing is that their entire coaching staff contracts are up February 1st. So in essence, the coaches become free agents and are able to go speak to anybody else. And there's Clyde Christensen, who is calling the plays today. And in order to sign those coaches, they have to come to agreements. And it would be kind of awkward to offer all the coaches on the staff a contract with the exception of Mike Shula. So they basically told him this is it and this is what's going on.
And this is Eddie George breaking it. Schulter's the last guy with a chance, and he's able to sling them down to the 7-yard line.
So really, to finish up that story, not the way that you want to do it. Not a good job by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at all. And basically led to probably a bittersweet time out here in Hawaii for 2 reasons now.
Meanwhile, Eddie George off of a Reuben Brown block, the Buffalo Bill leading the way for the Tennessee Titans. 21 yards. Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator. Brunell buying time and then just slings it to Pearl City.
Nice catch in the stands.
Very nice.
There he is. Don't make him give the ball back. I hope do they get to keep the ball in the NFL like they do in Major League Baseball? Do you know?
They better.
It's the Pro Bowl. You get to keep the ball. All right.
When you throw it into the first row of the stands, you do get to keep the ball.
When you watch Mark Brunell run, it looks like he's still limping and still bothered by. Let's take a look at this catch. Ooh, nice catch. Yeah. It looks like he's still bothered by that knee, and I had asked him during the week, did you have any concern about playing in this game? And he said, no. I thought that to be kind of odd.
Here's Eddie George taking it to the 5-yard line.
And then his head coach is here as this head coach during the season. And
exactly.
The last thing you want is, we saw Tremaine Mack earlier from the Bengals holding his wrist, is having a player to come out here and sustain an injury. And you remember last year, Damani Dawson pulled his hamstring in this game.
Right.
And then later on in the season, this coming season, he pulled his hamstring and lost how many games? 6 to 8 games?
Right. 3rd down and goal, and that's caught by Jimmy Smith. So Brunell to Smith, one jag to the other on a play call by the Jacksonville coaching staff. Touchdown.
Well, it certainly helps when you have your coaching staff calling plays, and all you have to do is read the secondary and find the zones, and Jimmy Smith and Mark Brunell certainly have something special together, as evidenced by Jimmy Smith's 116 catches this year. That's where the receivers like it, down inside the goal line, keep it low and away.
He led the NFL in receptions with those 116, and Olindo Mare of the Miami Dolphins have set a new record for field goals during the course of a year. Kicks the extra point. It's now the NFC 10, the AFC 7 in the waning seconds of the first quarter. About 80. Light trade winds. And the AFC to kick off. 10-7 the NFC on top. Half a minute to go in the opening period. Murray to kick off. Meanwhile, Tremaine Mack, the run back specialist for the AFC, having his wrist x-rayed in the locker room. Kick 8 yards in the end zone. Glenn Milburn. And Milburn, the first Chicago Bear to appear in a Pro Bowl in 6 years, takes it out to the 29. Let's go down to Dan Fouts. Dan.
Thank you, Al. Brunell, who's wearing double knee braces in the Pro Bowl. Boomer was talking about how surprised he was that you are even here, but this is your third time. You kind of liked it over here.
You know, I do like it. It's a lot of fun. The people of Hawaii are great, and you know, you get a chance to come out and vacation a little bit at the same time, be competitive on the field, and this game is exciting.
13-3 on the year. The 3 losses, of course, to the Titans, including the playoffs. What's it going to take for the Jags to get over that hump?
Well, we've got a way to beat the Titans, obviously. They're a very solid team. You know, in critical games like you just can't make mistakes. We've got to be at our. You're not going to win those big games, but we'll spend all offseason getting ready for those guys, and next year's another year.
All right, good luck and protect yourself out there.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Back up to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Dan. Randy Moss just made the catch on that last play, and the first quarter is over. End of 1. It is the NFC 10 and the AFC 7. The Pro Bowl returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. This is Marshall Faulk picking up about 7, surfing that net for all day trading possibilities.
Oh, okay.
That was you that we had. That was videotape of you and your halcyon years on that board. Not Atlanta 51.
Better than last week.
Than it was last week. No question about that. Just below freezing in New York. Warner on first down now as the second quarter gets underway with the NFC leading by 3. Tackled by James Hasty. Marshall Faulk taking it up near midfield.
What a nice tackle by James Hasty, who is a real physical cornerback in this league. He doesn't back down from making tackles. He's a man-to-man type of guy. He's going to get right in your face, and a nice pickup by the Chiefs a few years ago, a free agent from the New York Jets.
Second down and 4. Warner pump fake, did that a lot of times this year, looking for Randy Moss, and Randy Moss beats James Hasty, is out of bounds at the 5, first and goal. That's scary. Warner to Moss twice now.
This time it's a perfect throw by Kurt Warner, who throws it right over the head of James Hasty. And James Hasty's really running step for step with Randy Moss, and right there at the end it looks like Randy pulls away, slows down, and makes a nice catch. The great thing about Randy Moss, Al, is when you watch him, when the ball is near him, it just so effortlessly catches the football, and it just makes it look easy.
Now this is Allstott banging his way to the 1. Moss has 3 catches for 100 yards. He has a 48-yard reception, a 46-yard reception, and another for 6. Second down and goal now from the 1-yard line. Tony Dungy saying, now this is the kind of offense I've been looking for.
Looking for it for a while.
Faulk in the eye, and they give it to Allstott, and he takes it in for the touchdown. So Mike Allstott playing the role of a fullback in this set, but he's really a running back in a fullback's body, and he takes it in for the score.
He's the guy that gets the bulk of the carries for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we were talking to Tony Dungy this week. I said, Tony, seriously, how could you list him as a fullback when he lines up in the eye for you quite a bit? And he says, well, Boomer, he is a fullback type of a player. He does a lot of our one-back sets, and a lot of teams will put a fullback in that set, and that's why he's here. And you can see how tough he is to bring down, especially around down by the goal line.
Mike just 51 yards shy of 1,000 sharing time out of the backfield with Warwick Dunn in Tampa Bay. Hansen to the point after as Berger puts it down. And a couple of minutes into the second quarter, the NFC, thanks mainly to the combo of Warner and Moss, leading 17-7.
Pro football. It is the people's game.
Reminder, next weekend here on ABC for the 37th consecutive year, ABC proudly presents the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. You'll see defending champion Michael Weiss and Timothy Gable in the afternoon, and then in prime time, Michelle Kwan will try to defend her crown against some great rising stars Saturday in prime time right here on ABC.
Hey, Al, did you know that Timothy Gable was the first man in history to land 3 quads in one program?
I did not know that.
Now you know that.
How did you know that?
I know these things. I wonder if Mike Allstott knows these things.
Were you on the phone with Dick Button this morning?
Might have been. Never know.
Corey Dillon of the Cincinnati Bengals will be running back the kick because Tremaine Back, who is the run back specialist for the AFC, is having his wrist x-rayed.
So everybody in Cincinnati, hold your breath and hope he doesn't get hurt.
Right, here's Dillon, and Corey brings it back to the 37. Tackled by Brian Dawkins. Stand by, Leslie Visser. It's all yours, Les.
Well, Al, as you said, he is a punishing runner, rumbling into the end zone. Tell us about the play, Mike Allstott.
They just fed me ball twice at the goal line. We got down there. Great pass by Kurt Warner to Randy Moss, and I didn't have to do much. Got the big offense line for me that's obviously all Americans, all pros.
Hey, what was it like? Warren Sapp said it was really tough for the Buccaneers to watch the Super Bowl.
Really tough. You know, we've been so close, and it was really tough to even watch it because we knew we should have been there. But congratulations to the 2 teams that were there.
What about, of course, next year's Super Bowl's in your hometown? What about Mike Shula is no longer your offensive coordinator? Were you shocked?
I'm shocked. I'm kind of upset. We were very close to where we needed to be on offense, but you know, that's a decision that was made by upstairs and the coaches. So just got to move on and try to get back to where we were last year.
It'll work out for everyone. Al, Tony Dungy did tell me he will be talking to Al Saunders.
Oh, very interesting. Al Saunders. We'll get into that in a second. As you saw that flea flicker, which was it was a nicely designed but not particularly well executed flea flicker that's intercepted by Brian Dawkins.
Well, the first thing here is that Eddie George does not flip a great one back, and then Michael Strahan's back there. And look at this wobbly duck coming out of the hands of Mark Brunell. Just trying to get rid of it.
Tipped by Light, picked off by Dawkins. And now the NFC has it at the 38-yard line, and
which way did he go?
Johnson's a new quarterback, and he just drops it on the ground. And that is not a Lee Gross Cup shovel pass. That is a true fumble recovered by the AFC.
Those Redskins and Cowboys can't seem to see eye to eye.
No. So Johnson comes in, replacing Warner. It is recovered by Junior Seau.
Oh, boy.
Miscommunication on the call.
Well, right here, it looks like it's going to be a shovel pass to Emmitt Smith, and Johnson was confused. Smith was confused. It seemed like Johnson thought he was coming from the other side, and, well, these things kind of happen in the Pro Bowl. Think about it, they don't pay too much attention in practice. And when you start trying to put in some of these funky plays like this, that's exactly what happens. Keep it simple, stupid. Just run right and run left, and that's it.
It's the economy. First down to the 35-yard line. Rich Gannon of the Oakland Raiders is the new quarterback. And he hands the ball off to Edgerrin James, who works the edge and picks up about 5. And for a guy like Rich Gannon, 12 years in the league, and here he is. He finally makes the Pro Bowl.
I have a little bone to pick with Rich Gannon. Walking around the other day over at the hotel where the players are staying at, I saw him, and I was wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneer t-shirt. And he said, are you trying to send a message to Tony Dungy, you know? And I'm saying, well, maybe he thinks I could still play or something. He goes, they are looking for an offensive coordinator. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. You have more gray hair than I do, son. I'm not that much older than you.
Which leads us back to where Leslie started to take us before as Gannon throws over the middle and into traffic. That is caught by Frank Wycheck, the Tennessee tight end. You know, Vice, but able to haul it in the first down of the 15. Leslie mentioning Tony Dungy is going to talk to Al Saunders. Al, the receivers coach of the Rams, former head coach of the San Diego Chargers, perhaps looking at Al as the offensive coordinator.
Well, it would be a nice addition to the Tampa Bay staff. Certainly Al has had a big impact on Isaac Bruce, and all those players, the offensive players, told us how important he was to their offense. So that would be a nice pickup for Tampa Bay, but they will, I'm sure, interview him and a few other guys as well.
From the 15-yard line, they hand the ball off to Edgerrin James.
But how about Rich Gannon thinking that I'm like ready to go into coaching as opposed to still coming back and playing? I was like, wait a minute.
Well, he's a student of history is what he is.
Okay.
He and Steve Berline, both students of history. Gannon finishing his 12th year, Berline in his 13th year, and he is in uniform today. We'll see him on the NFC side before this one is much further along. This is Keyshawn Johnson out of bounds at the 11-yard line, and there is Steve Berline of the Carolina Panthers.
Look at those numbers. I mean, 4,400 yards in his 13th year.
36 touchdowns.
36 TDs. I mean, tremendous numbers, and George Seifert seems to have gotten that program now turned around, and they traded for Jeff Lewis from the Denver Broncos to be the young up-and-coming quarterback, but Steve Berline never relinquished, and he played very well towards the end of the season and kept them in the playoff hunt all the way up to the last week.
3rd down and 5. Gannon over the middle, wide open touchdown, Tony Gonzalez. The Raiders and the Chiefs hate each other, except
now
in the
they
Pro
don't.
Bowl. Oakland to Kansas City for the touchdown.
Well, like I said before, you know where they're going to be as a quarterback, so when you drop back, watch number 57, that's Stephen Boyd running out with Edgerrin James. It's man coverage. If you see the middle linebacker run out of the middle, whoever was supposed to cover, Gonzalez blew the coverage.
Extra point by Mate. And a flag is down. And then picked back up. And it's 17-14, 5 minutes into the second quarter. Outlined against a clear blue Hawaiian sky.
Where are you going with this?
I don't know where I'm going with it. It's good to be here, you know. This is a great way to end the season. Where am I going to the beach with this? 17-14. NFC on top. Good opening half. Olindo Mare to kick off. By the way, Tremaine Mack, the report on him, a fractured wrist. So the x-rays unfortunately were not negative as Michael Bates takes it from the 5. And Michael Bates nearly runs it all the way back to the motel, up to the 40-yard line, where he's tackled by Lawyer Malloy. Let's go down to Dan Fouts. Dan?
Well, Howie Long played 13 years in the NFL, came to the Pro Bowl 8 times, and we're seeing one of his 84 sacks. And Howie, I think your other 83 were against me. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll tell you a funny story. I think we either broke your nose or bloodied it in the first half, and the son of a gun came out in the second half, scorched us for about 3 1/4.
Well, that's fantasy land. But Howie, this is the reality. The Hall of Fame, and that's one of the most eloquent defensive linemen to ever play the game. What's your favorite memory of your career?
You know, I have so many. It's hard to pinpoint one. The camaraderie, the competition. You know, we competed against your great teams in Kansas City and Denver, and John Elway played against a number of great players, and I'd say the competition.
What's it going to take for the Raiders to get back to the big game, though?
Better players, getting more people on the same page. Talked to Al Davis. He could call me to congratulate me, and they're obviously looking forward to getting more Woodsons and people like that on the field, and I think that's the key.
Have you figured out a presenter yet?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Earl Leggett, my old defensive line coach. Kind of brought me up.
Earl just retired from the Redskins this year.
Yeah, I built a little lake down in Mississippi, and gonna live off that pension. The dollar goes a long way down there.
You know, not that you need any ammunition for Terry Bradshaw, but you got some now.
That's God's way of balancing things out, I told you. You know, it's all God. He's the big brother I never wanted.
I never wanted you this close to me, Howie, but congratulations.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
I back up to you, Al.
All right, thank you. On 3rd down and 3, it is Johnson underthrowing Chris Carter. So Howie Long, the new Hall of Famer, class of 2000, to be inducted in Canton in the summer.
I'm still wondering about eloquent and defensive line in the same sentence. I never felt that way about any defensive lineman. Maybe Dan was just afraid that he was standing next to him.
Howie does a great job on Fox, their pregame show. Enjoying the weekend here in Hawaii as Charles Woodson goes back to return the kick. Mitch Berger. This is an end-over-end boot fielded at the 10 by the Heisman Trophy winner from Michigan. And Berger goes down there to knock him down at the 24. So Berger, a pretty special teamer. 3-point lead for the NFC.
I wasn't always a pro football player. I used to be a regular kid. I had dreams like all the other kids. I played hard like all the other kids. I guess I was just lucky. Lucky that I wasn't this kid. This is Mario Johnson. He was one of the 12 kids killed every day from gunfire in America.
It's never too early to think about retirement. Maybe that's why so many people go to Schwab.com. In a few steps, you can open a Roth, a traditional IRA, or a rollover, invest in a range of funds, and plan for the future. Because retirement,
You got the upper.
comes sooner than you think.
Wednesday, Norm's really in love this time. There's just one little problem.
Oh, look, it's your fiancé, the guy you're going to marry.
It's all new. See you Wednesday on ABC.
The Pro Bowl game is being brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental. The car you want, the service you expect, all at a low rate, just what you want, just Thrifty. Budweiser, made with the freshest all-natural ingredients for a brewery fresh taste. And Dell Computer, pioneering direct internet ideas for your business. Be direct. Dell. Crowd doing the wave. We're about 8 miles from Waikiki, back at Aloha Stadium. Gannon on first down from the 24-yard line. That is underthrown and not picked off. Brian Dawkins almost had his second interception. Let's go down to Leslie Visser.
Al, it's the first time I think he ever tackled a Heisman Trophy winner, Mitch Berger.
Yeah, I think it is the first time I ever tackled him. Hopefully it's the last time, too, that I got to.
Well, you always say that you're more than a kicker.
Well, I try to be, you know. I try to be a good athlete. I try to make a play if I can, and you know, especially if I don't hit that good of a punt, I want to go down there and make up for it.
Well, what about, I don't know if everyone's familiar with your recent history when you were out of the league, and what were you doing in Canada?
I was pumping gas down in Vancouver during my second year when I got cut a few times. I took a job pumping gas in the morning at my friend Jason Johnson's gas station, and we worked out in the morning. We pumped gas in the morning, worked out in the afternoon, and I kicked balls in the afternoon with my dad till I made the Vikings, and I guess hopefully the rest is history.
Yeah, this could be a whole new thing. Kurt Warner stocking shelves, you pumping gas.
Just shows you anybody can do it if they work hard.
That's true. Perseverance. Congratulations to you. Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, Warner was stocking shelves in Cedar Falls, Iowa, in a Hy-Vee store, and that same store now, Boomer, is selling Kurt Warner's cereal, Crunch Time.
Is it Crunch Time? Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called, Crunch Time.
I wonder if he'll go back and sign autographs.
Dream year. And right now he's the MVP of this game too. 2nd down and 5. That is caught by Jimmy Smith. Gain of 4, run out by Troy Vincent.
And when you talk to Kurt Warner, it's like he's a regular guy. It's like none of this has even had any effect on him. I don't know if it's an act or not, but it seems sincere to me. And it's just, I said it last week, Al. It's got to be the greatest season a quarterback's ever put together. I mean, 41 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 65% completion, season MVP, Super Bowl MVP.
Out of nowhere, on 3rd and 1, Eddie George hit by Brian Dawkins, and right now, I mean, if they took a vote right now, he'd be the Pro Bowl MVP.
He sure would, and it's just, and then the other fact is that he kind of assumes that he belongs here, and it's no big deal. And again, I asked him last week, do you realize what you've accomplished and what you've done in the history of this league and how you've done it and how easily it looked for all of us to watch you? And he's, well, whatever, you know, I got some great players around me, and he gives the credit to his players and his coaching staff, which is definitely a very good thing to see from our standpoint.
Well, I mentioned it last week. I mean, it's a great real life story. The studios could only screw it up if they made it into a movie. It's unbelievable. On 4th down,
And this is the problem that you have in special teams. You got guys who aren't used to playing special teams, so they don't have the right people on the field, and certain guys playing out of position.
And also, with you, Tremaine Mack is out of the game with a broken wrist.
Yeah, but he's only one guy.
Right. Well, that's
the other 10 out there have to know what they're doing.
Yep.
And
but they were late getting. I think Keyshawn Johnson was coming onto the field.
That's
late.
the problem. Keyshawn Johnson. Wait, but I don't cover punts.
Right.
I don't do this, Coach.
Yep.
This ought to be interesting watching this matchup. John Lynch and Todd Light against Keyshawn Johnson at the bottom of your screen.
Key playing the flyer role here. Tupa pulled in by Clint Milburn. And Milburn all the way out to the 50-yard line or thereabouts. With 6:25 to go in the opening half in Honolulu, 17-14 National Conference. I don't know what her name is.
Oh, okay. What are you talking about?
Well, that's Chinaman's hat.
Okay, I see.
You and I will be trying to traverse that channel tomorrow.
The thing about it is, Hal, that you know it all around here. This is nice.
Mackay, Malka, the whole thing. They're working on Eddie George as Brad Johnson goes deep into coverage. There's Moss bumping Sam Madison, and no flag. Incidental contact incomplete. Let's go down to Leslie Visser. Les?
I couldn't hear you guys. Al, you talked about 5 years ago. We talked about how this man was stocking shelves, and then a week ago he was up on the podium holding up the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Kurt Warner, what kind of a week has this been like?
It's been a great week. It's been busy, but it's been fun. I mean, this is what I've dreamed about for a long time, for many years. Was dreaming about it when I was stocking shelves, and to finally be at this point, to be finishing out the year playing in the Pro Bowl, I mean, it's a dream come true, and I just hope there's many more to come in the future.
What was it like to be the quarterback and watch that last play of the game where you couldn't really do anything about it?
That was tough. You know, you always hate it when you're a quarterback. You want the ball in your hands. So you always hate it when it comes down to the other team having it, not having any control of the situation. But had all the confidence in the world in my team and the defense, and they came through. And it's nice to know that we're world champions, and nobody can take that away from us.
Well, it's been a joyful ride. Congratulations to you. Back to you guys.
Well,
thank you, Leslie.
The ride's only going to get better because he's going to be the beneficiary of a new contract very soon. Remember, this is the guy that played for the league minimum this year. I believe that they gave him some sort of a bonus during the season for good play.
Right. They gave him what they had left under the cap.
It was $500,000, I believe.
Right. His contract called for about $250,000, and they gave him an extra $500,000. Quite in contrast to his opposite number, Peyton Manning, whose bonus was $11 million for 6 years.
How you doing? Hello, St. Louis.
Well, he's going to be a rich young man, and really did it the way that many people think the way you should do it is earn it.
Sure.
And that's exactly what he's done.
Kurt Warner paying homage to that defense too. And how about Mike Jones? He will go down in history as the guy who saved it. And what would have happened had Dyson gotten that extra yard as Moss picks up the first down? Let's go to Dan Fouts. Dan.
Well, Al, Eddie George rolled his right ankle on the AstroTurf. He's had it retaped, and as you can see, he's trying to work it out right now. But he says he'll be back in the game.
I think Jeff Fisher is probably going to call Tom Coughlin at halftime. So, hey, how about sitting him down now? Enough's enough already.
I don't think Jeff Fisher is going to call Tom Coughlin anytime soon. That's a pretty good rivalry that Tennessee and Jacksonville have going right now. First down. This is Allstott. And Allstott bangs his way inside the 10 to the 3-yard line. Run down by the end, Javon Curse. 27 yards for the blocking back. Or the blocking back in this set anyway.
Well, you would think that the NFC, AFC championship teams, the 4 teams, are probably in the best shape. And you can see right there, Mike Allstott looks pretty good as he runs through and breaks some tackles. But look at Javon Curse, run him down. Oh.
First and goal from the 3. NFC up by 3. Johnson giving it to Allstott again, and he bangs his way in for his second touchdown of the afternoon. There's a mini bob and weave.
What that is. Art's arms, they don't go down far enough to bob and weave.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
He should just do curls.
It's a mini hula.
Here it is. You're not supposed to jump up and down like that, are you? Oh, my goodness.
Jason Hansen with his third extra point to go with a field goal. And with 4:45 to go in the half, it is now 24-14 in favor of the NFC. The AFC, through the course of history here, has won the last 3 games of the series, though the NFC holds a 15-14 edge in the 29 Pro Bowls that have been played since the NFL and the AFL merged in 1970. Before that, it was simply known as the Pro Bowl, featuring the NFL Eastern Conference against the Western Conference.
I don't think I was around then.
Boomer, I remember going to those games.
Actually, I do remember, though, however, at the late 80s, they only had 2 quarterbacks out here.
Right.
And then in 1991, they changed the format, and they brought 3 quarterbacks out here. Most of us felt that when we were playing in this game, to have to play a half was a very difficult thing to do, because at the end of the game especially, your offensive linemen kind of get a little bit tired out, and the defensive linemen start controlling the line of scrimmage, and those guys all want to be defensive MVPs. So they added a 3rd quarterback, thankfully, and all of us applauded that.
But they still only have 43 players, as opposed to the 46 that you can suit up, and the extras as well on the practice squad during the regular season.
Well, when you think about it, they only have a few extra offensive linemen to play, so those guys get worn out, and a lot of those guys were not in the playoffs. So when you think about it, they shut it down. And when you come over here and you look at them on the beach, you realize, wait a minute, are you in shape to play this game?
Yeah.
And usually around the 4th quarter, they start sucking wind, and the quarterback is basically the raw meat in the backfield.
Well, sure, you think about the teams that were eliminated from playoff contention. They haven't played since the first week in January. You're talking about 5 weeks off.
And they all want to be here. There's no question about that. The question is how much juice do they have left in the tank come the 4th quarter?
Well, Hansen has enough juice to send that one deep into the end zone where Jimmy Smith downs it.
And don't be surprised if you see both teams high-fiving Hansen to keep everybody away from tackling and blocking.
That's right. Yeah, now the AFC taking over, down by 10.
You can always see that the offensive linemen are the ones that are always walking on the field. They just kind of take it. Come on, guys, just take it easy. Let's try not to run too many plays here. Let's just take our time and let us enjoy this a little bit.
Peyton Manning comes back into the game. We've seen Manning, we've seen Brunell, we've seen Gannon. They're rotating at quarterback.
Got him.
And Peyton throws, and wide open is Gonzalez, the tight end, for a big gain, a 30-yard gain all the way out to the 50-yard line.
Well, we saw Derek Brooks early on in the game get down the field and knock down a pass in the deep lanes, and this time Gonzalez and he are locked up man on man. It's a little play action fake, and Peyton Manning throws a nice football right over the outstretched arms of Derek Brooks right there. But it just goes to show you how athletic Tony Gonzalez is, getting down the field that quickly. At 6'4", 250 pounds, a former basketball player at the University of California. Starting to show his stuff.
Has already scored a touchdown today. Pump fake by Manning, looks the other way, has protection, and then it's dropped by Sam Gash. Gash is the blocking back, chosen as the fullback, a guy who did not carry the ball a single time this season.
Well, you see why. Everybody who's ever played with him, however, said they love him on his team. He's an unselfish player, and he has the thought process that I am here to block. That's my job, and he accepts his role, and he's very good at it. Just don't throw me the ball.
2nd down and 10. Manning. And that is corralled by Dexter Coakley. It is intercepted. Coakley got it before it hit the ground as he picks off Manning at the 46-yard line. And so Peyton not having the time of his life thus far in Honolulu.
Well, he doesn't see Dexter Coakley, and Coakley is reading Peyton's eyes. He's trying to hit a little shallow cross underneath. And you can see Brooks again out in front of Wycheck, and Coakley just sitting there reading the eyes of Peyton Manning and making a play, but not a very good throw by Peyton Manning.
Manning now 2 out of 6 for 36 yards and 2 picks. Brad Johnson gives the ball to Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt gets dragged down by Carnell Lake at the 49-yard line. The great Emmitt Smith.
Truly the great Emmitt Smith. We saw him on a Monday night game against the Vikings. I thought he was going to run for 300 yards that night. He breaks his hand at the end of the first half after gaining, I believe it was about 140 yards up to that point.
Yep.
And you talk about finding the fountain of youth.
Y'all going, you staying any longer? You going back home?
We're staying.
2nd down and 6. 3:20 to go in the half. Emmitt again cuts it back to the 48-yard line where he's tackled by James Hasty. Emmitt will be looking at a new head coach next year. Man, he knows very well, of course, because Dave Campo has been the defensive coordinator. With Campo taking over, Chan Gailey going to Miami as the offensive coordinator. A lot of changes.
Oh. You know, that will be an interesting change in Miami. Chan Gailey going there, trying to figure out what is going on with Dan Marino in that offense. Many people felt that Chan was released from the Cowboys because their offense has not played well and under his tutelage. And remember Jerry Jones telling us that he wanted a head coach who called the plays?
Right, now he went the other way. 3rd down and 5, and this is Chris Carter out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Well, and then there was Dom Capers, who's here, of course, today, Boomer. Dom was maybe the hottest of the assistants at the end of the season. Dom actually interviewed with Bob Kraft in New England, and who knows if Bill Belichick couldn't have worked out that Jet New England situation. Dom conceivably could have gone to Foxborough. Dom also interviewed in New Orleans, but then took himself out of the running. He's waiting for the exact opportunity.
Well, you think about the New Orleans situation, that's a mess. And you're going to have a lot of passion down there in their new head coach.
That's Moss, pass a little behind him. When I say the Capers was looking for the exact right opportunity, what you mean by that is that a lot of times people think, hey, if a guy gets offered a head coaching job, he'll automatically take it. But Capers knows he has to have it. And he's been there before. He was with Carolina for 4 years, as you see the last play again. He wants to go into a situation where he has control of the important things. And remember, Tom Coughlin's a guy. Tom turned down the Giants job a few years ago, went to Boston College, and then the Jacksonville job came along, and he knew that was the right one.
Well, you know, and the thing about it is that you have Haslett, who's the new head coach of New Orleans.
Johnson throws, and Moss has to go through his hands. What was that all about?
It's 2 in a row, it looks like. Well, this is where Randy kind of gets a little bit out of focus. And 2 passes that go off of his hands. We were talking about it earlier about how he makes it look so easy. And then all of a sudden the concentration kind of goes a little bit. He might have lost it in the sun, but just a total lack of concentration twice now. He might have even been looking, as our spotter Kelly Hayes tells us, looking at Carnell Lake bearing down on him.
Right, Malibu Kelly Hayes.
And it's Malibu, okay. I thought he was Honolulu Kelly Hayes.
Kaka'ako Kelly Hayes. Timeout called here with 2:02 before the 2-minute warning. Timeout was called by the NFC.
I just wanted to get back to that New Orleans situation for a second. Now, they hire the defensive coordinator Haslett from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is now their head coach. He was on, I believe, the Morris staff there. He knows the situation. It's a team without a first-round draft pick this year. A team basically that has had problems at the quarterback position. And you're going to have a lot of passion and energy to turn that mess around right now.
NFC, as we mentioned, leading in the series by 1. There's Clyde Christensen calling the NFC plays. Reminder, Toyota halftime show coming up. Dick Vermeil from his home in St. Louis will join us a week after his triumph in Atlanta. 3rd down and 10 for the NFC at the 41-yard line. You've got Emmitt Smith split wide left with Falk as the ace back in this set. Johnson swings it out to Falk. He's chased by Curse. and can't pick up the first down. Chased by Brackens, rather, and he's out of bounds at the 34-yard line, and there's a flag down.
You're going to have an illegal formation by the NFC, I believe, and there's Kevin Carter.
Led the league in sacks with 17.
Looked to me like there was confusion between Emmitt Smith and Chris Carter as to who was on the line of scrimmage, so it looked like neither one of them were.
This was after the NFC had actually called a timeout.
6 men on the offensive line. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Take a look at this right here. Here's Emmitt Smith down there. There's Chris Carter. One of those guys has to be on the line of scrimmage to cover this tackle here. You have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and therefore a penalty.
2-minute warning. Two minutes to go. Actually, 1:57 as you saw Stephen Boyd of the Lions. And Randall McDaniel, the Minnesota guard, 12th year, 11 Pro Bowls. He's ready for action here. There he is, getting into that most unconventional but highly effective stance as Johnson throws for Carter, and the pass a little high. So Johnson, who spent a couple of seasons throwing to Chris Carter, a little high this time, and it's 4th down.
3 times in a row they tried that same exact pattern, that little down and in front of Charles Woodson, and you can see that Carter's down. It looks like he might have gotten a wind knocked out of him a little bit. That doesn't look too serious, but that's 3 in a row, Al. They tried that down and in pattern in front of Woodson. He must be hanging outside, so they feel that that's a place where they can go with it. And twice Randy Moss dropped it. They figure, well, let's put the sure hands in there of Chris Carter, and let's take a look at this. Just a little bit. It was a poorly thrown football, but if he's pointing to his ankle now, it looks like. Take a look at his right leg. Yeah, right leg right there. Gets rolled up on by Woodson.
So we've already had Tremaine Mack of the Bengals with a fractured wrist, and it is the one fear that all coaches have as they watch this game. And it was Brent Jones who suffered a broken leg in this game about 5 or 6 years ago.
And you have to remember with Chris Carter at the end of the season there, he had that twisted ankle that kept him out. Actually, really didn't keep him out. He came in and played. He hurt it against Kansas City on a Sunday night game, played in our next Monday night game, which was, I thought, a miraculous recovery on his part. Didn't play much. So these are things that happen to all players. They bring their injuries here, and hopefully you don't re-aggravate them. And unfortunately, right there, it looks like Chris Carter did that.
Chris, 114 career touchdown receptions, second only to Jerry Rice. There's Zach Thomas looking on as Mitch Berger gets set to punt. And running the kickback for the AFC, Charles Woodson again with Mack first. Now you've got Woodson, who won the Heisman in Michigan, fielding at the 9. Knocking him down at the 13-yard line. Hardy Nickerson coming up at the half. Will, as we've been telling you, talk to, there he is, Dick Vermeil. All warm and cozy, the fire going in the background in St. Louis. And we'll be talking to Dick from his home.
He already looks better than he did last week.
Dick looks about 5 years younger than he did last Sunday. Life is good. From the 13-yard line, Peyton Manning now coming in.
Well, now this is an interesting situation here where you try to run the 2-minute drill in the Pro Bowl, and you have guys you've never played with before, and you're trying to stretch guys and put them in the right position.
Manning out of the shotgun. That's caught by Keyshawn Johnson, and Johnson out to the 22-yard line. Short of the first down. They'll spot it at the 21. 2nd and 2. AFC has all of its timeouts, all 3, as Manning then throws to the outside. That'll be a first down as Marvin Harrison takes it out of bounds. Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp, one of the best defenses in all of football. And interesting dilemma that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have also is that Hardy Nickerson is a unrestricted free agent. They cannot put a franchise tag on him because he was a part. That's Derek Brooks right there, but Hardy was a part of the Reggie White settlement back in the early 90s. So they have to get him signed before February 11th, which is the opening day of free agency in the NFL.
Johnson, he gets taken out of bounds by Vincent.
And I would think by the Buccaneers not picking up Trent Dilfer's option that there's money there for them to pay Hardy Nickerson, and Hardy has been their leader down there. The dilemma they have is that he is a 13-year player. The question is how much longer as a middle linebacker in this league can he go? He's worth every dollar, at least for next year, and I would think the year after that, but you have to start thinking long-term with a player of his age.
The bean counters and green eye shades are working overtime this time of year. Caught up at the 38-yard line by Jimmy Smith.
Well, when you talk to Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator of the Buccaneers, say, hey, we got to have this guy. This guy is the heart and soul of our defense. And there is Monty Kiffin, and certainly he knows how important Hardy Nickerson is to his team. And there's Hardy. Could be saying goodbye.
Timeout call by the AFC. Let's check in with Dan Fouts. Dan.
Thank you, Al. I'm here with the Miami Dolphins' great middle linebacker, Zach Thomas. You're used to this heat and everything. It's pretty good down there.
Oh yeah, you know us linebackers want that heat because of them fat linemen. You know, it helps us out, gets them a little tired. You know, but it's a good rotation. It's hot, but I've been used to it. All the humidity and stuff.
A few changes there in Miami. Were you surprised about Jimmy Johnson?
I wasn't surprised. I felt like he was not used to the losing, and he got a little burned out at the end. He's a great coach, and we're going to miss him. And, you know, I think Wanstead will do a great job.
Al, I'm sitting on the bench. I'm in the cool zone. I got water. This is great.
Dan.
He's sitting next to a guy who has no neck.
Right. This is Corey Dillon. Dillon picks up 9, tackled by Troy Vincent.
Now you see Corey Dillon there, Al. I got a chance to play with him his rookie year. He ran for 246 yards in one game against the Tennessee Titans, and he's on his way to superstardom. He's a terrific running back. He can catch the ball, he blocks, and he runs very well. Unfortunately, playing in Cincinnati, a lot of people around the country don't know how special a player he is.
Second down and 1 from the 48-yard line. Incomplete. Hoover down. Dan Fouts said that he sounded much too comfortable down there, Boomer. We're going to have to maybe assign him to the World Ski Flying Championships in Vickerson, Norway.
Maybe he'd go to the figure skating championships.
Well, he could.
And see Timothy Gable do that. What did I say he did?
What did he do? Leslie, what is it that Timothy Gable does?
3 quads in one.
I saw you doing one of those after dinner the other night. He wasn't the first. 3rd and 1 from the 48-yard line. That is caught by Gonzalez. And Gonzalez is out of bounds at the 40-yard line, breaking a Dexter Coakley tackle. First down.
And from an ex-player standpoint and a huge fan of the NFL, just watching these young players like a Gonzalez, a Dillon, Nedrin James, and Peyton Manning, and you see that this is the watershed year for the NFL. All these new players, these new stars coming to the forefront and living up to their billing. It's great for the league to see 41 new players here.
41 out of the 86 in uniform. Manning throws, and does he catch it in bounds? He does. Keyshawn Johnson able to toe dance the sideline and make the catch.
These are situations where the defense really finds itself at a disadvantage because they can't put other defensive backs on the field. Most teams will have 6 or 7 defensive backs on the field in a 2-minute offense or versus a 2-minute offense, and look at that. Ooh.
Well,
but in the Pro Bowl you can't do that.
In the Pro Bowl is also no replay from the 27-yard line. Manning throws, that is caught, and running with it out of bounds is Marvin Harrison to save a timeout.
And you can see right there that disadvantage. Stephen Boyd, the middle linebacker of the Lions, trying to cover Marvin Harrison. It's not happening. He can tackle him if he gets close to him, a la Mike Jones last week against Kevin Dyson.
Right.
But if you can't get close to him, you're not catching him.
Manning now at 67%, but those 2 interceptions, 1 run back by Aeneas Williams for the game-opening touchdown. 24-14 NFC. 2nd and 4 from the 21-yard line. Manning throwing, caught at the 5. It is Smith for the touchdown.
Well, Peyton Manning got Aeneas Williams on that one, and Jimmy Smith moved away from him, and Peyton threw the ball nicely, accurately on the run. So he could take a little bit back out of this first half, that he did something good and he brought his team down in a 2-minute drill.
It's the way the Pro Bowl should be, kind of like street football at this point.
Kind of like the NBA All-Star game. Just throw it up, nobody plays any defense, and let's get some points on the board.
This would be the 45th point of the half, if good, and it is, by Olindo Mare. Manning was 9 of 10 for 87 yards on the drive. 24-21 NFC.
Well, there's all that's right with the NFL. Bright young stars like Peyton Manning, Alan. What a tremendous kid he is, and how centered and focused he is on what he's accomplished. And again, a lot of people attribute that to the fact that his father Archie played in this league and he had been around it as a young man. He's got a real handle on it, and he seems to really feel for the game, and he knows how to operate as a big-time quarterback at such a youthful age. It's really amazing.
You look at his dad, and those of us who knew his dad, of course, are not surprised when a kid grows up like this, with Archie and his wife as the parents, and did a marvelous job in raising Peyton. Let's go down to Dan Fouts.
Thank you, Al. Jimmy Smith, leading receiver in the NFL, in the end zone twice here in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, fortunate. You know, last year didn't catch a pass. Keyshawn was the most valuable player, had his coaching staff over here. This year I got my coaching staff, so rightfully so.
And one quarterback, Brunell, threw you one, now Peyton.
Yep, outstanding quarterbacks, doing an outstanding job of staying poised in the pocket. What can you expect? They're great quarterbacks.
And Coughlin gave you a heck of a pep talk before the game, huh?
Oh yeah, well that's typical Coach Coughlin. That's his way of coaching. We're used to it as Jaguar players, so it's good for Coach Coughlin.
Well, you know, he's won this game before.
Oh yeah, we have. We're in a tight battle right now.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jimmy.
Thanks, Dan.
Val, back up to you.
Thank you, Dan. If anybody could give a Pro Bowl team an inspiration to talk, it would be Tom Coughlin.
He's not going to give him anything to laugh about, I can tell you that.
A bouncing ball fielded at the 1-yard line by Michael Bates. And Michael Bates runs it into AFC territory, and they're going to say he was out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
Did you see the key block that Mike Allstott made on Rod Woodson? So here's your fullback that now is thrust into a position where he has to make a block on special teams, and he locks up Rod Woodson and gives Bates the opportunity to make another 25 yards.
66-yard return with 10 seconds left. So now the option for the NFC, you run a play, and if you don't get anything, do you kick a 50-yard field goal, 51?
Well, Al, you can throw it in the middle of the field because they have a timeout left. And there is Allstott blocking for Bates.
Mare got a hand on his shoulder. Brad Johnson throwing to the outside and incomplete, and he had Muhsin Mohammed actually had position on James Hasty, the pass underthrown, and now they'll go for 3.
Well, he had him easy, too. Looked like Brad Johnson was trying to kind of just throw a dart or try to just direct it there, as opposed to just letting back and throwing it and just getting it out there for him to make a play on it.
Now Jason Hansen for a 51-yard attempt. Mitch Berger to hold it.
Oh, they're going to ice him in the Pro Bowl, Al.
Yeah.
Timeout. AFC, 2-second charge timeout. 30-second timeout.
Tough to ice a guy in the Pro Bowl.
I know.
Any way you look at it. Hansen will try to send the teams off the field by giving the NFC a 6-point lead.
Well, Well, at least it's been an entertaining half, a lot of things happening. I mean, there have been a few times where we've been out here, and I mean, it's been 6-3 at halftime.
Right. So they'll line it up again at the 41-yard line. Berger will spot it for Hansen. 51-yard attempt. And that one is good. And another nice job done by Berger to get it down. So a very entertaining first half comes to a close in Honolulu, with the National Conference leading the American Conference 27-21.
Nice rush by the AFC there, Al.
Highest scoring first half in the history of the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl. Toyota halftime show coming up. We'll talk to Dick Vermeil when we come back after this message from the National Football League and a word from our ABC stations. Halftime show going on right now. Full house looking on. Good first half. Wide open, highest scoring first half in the history of the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl, with the National Conference leading by a score of 27-21. Well, last week, you think back to the Super Bowl, best ever in the minds of many. Dick Vermeil looking on as the game ended with Dyson to the 1-yard line, and that's all. He couldn't get in, and the Rams win the Super Bowl. And what an eventful week it has been for one Dick Vermeil, who joins us now from his home in St. Louis. And Dick, take us back now over the past 7 days, and just as you reflect back in the aftermath of the Super Bowl, what's this week been like for you?
Well, you know, in announcing my retirement, it changed the environment following a Super Bowl, I'm sure, for me. And I've shared some real good experiences visiting with players. I've returned a lot of phone calls and responded to telegrams and well-wishers who are very, very close friends and former coaches that I've worked with and people around. But really, I really enjoyed outstanding conversations with some real fine football players that are here in town.
Dick, when Boomer and I talked with you before the Super Bowl about the possibility of retiring if you won the game, you were pretty non-committal. When did you know that you were going to retire?
Well, the night we got home from the Super Bowl, my wife and I discussed it for about 20 minutes to a half an hour here at the house. The next morning we got up and we discussed it for another half hour, sat down at the breakfast table and visited with it about it. And I said, you know, I think it's time. It'll be the only chance I have to go out as a winner. And I didn't want to come back into the season next year anywhere if something was going bad and say, you know, I should have retired last year. And then my family was excited about me, a possibility of retiring and coming back and spending more time with them and the grandchildren. And all of these things sort of swelled within a short period of time, and so I did it.
How come you didn't wait a few days? And I say that only because, I mean, do you hold open the possibility that at some point down the line in the next weeks or months, you might think to yourself, you know, I wish I was still coaching?
You know, Al, I've never looked back on decisions I've made. It didn't take me but 2 days to make the decision to take this job, from a Saturday afternoon interview with John Shaw and the next day accepting the job, and from a night home with my wife discussing the possibilities of retiring to the next morning rediscussing it and then retiring. You know, I've never really spent a lot of time making major decisions, and I've never looked back. I try to spend more time making my decision the right decision.
Dick, what do you think would have happened if Dyson had scored, if the Titans had won the game in overtime? Do you think you still would have retired?
I doubt it. I doubt it, because, you know, I think it would have spurred me to keep going, because I really didn't have a preconceived plan as to what to do. And regardless, some people don't believe me in regard to that, but I know I was on the Jay Leno show the other night, and I said I wouldn't be on it because I was going to be working on Friday, and I had things to do, and I announced it quickly after, because there's a lot of things to do before February 11th when you're both president of football operations and head coach in determining free agency and the direction you're going. So I had planned to be working. Then when I announced my retirement, they called and said, hey, you're not working. Why don't you come on? And I did, and I had fun.
Dick, for years you were a college coach, then a professional coach with Philadelphia, then a broadcaster at ABC and did a great job, mainly with Brent Musburger through the years. Now you win the Super Bowl. What's your future now?
Well, right now I'm unemployed. And John Shaw, Georgia Frontier, and Stan Kroenke have been very nice to me for the next few years, which is very much appreciated, and really beyond expectation, believe me. And I'd like to go back into broadcasting. I don't know anything else but football, Al, and Boomer. I don't know anything else. You know, I can't go back to college at my age to get a degree in something else. And so I'd like to try to broadcast if there's a good opportunity. If not, I'll look into some business opportunities.
Right now you can go to dinner. Dick, congratulations. You helped write a story for the ages. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Nice to be with you guys.
Dick Vermeil joining us from his home in St. Louis, retiring as the coach of the St. Louis Rams. Halftime show continuing back at Aloha Stadium in Honolulu after this.
He would like to have. He is particularly impressed with the anticipation of Kurt Warner, and also he's very impressed with the receivers. But some of the players are frustrated. They said that the AFC is blitzing and that they were going to check the rule book at halftime. Dan, maybe you know more about this.
Well, Leslie, Tom Coughlin says they must be dreaming because they're not blitzing at all. In fact, maybe they should be blitzing because they're not winning the ball game.
Well, you're right, Dan. They are not blitzing. I've seen that from up here. It's easy to see whether they're blitzing or not. And, you know, that's just all that kind of stuff that's going on anyway.
They think they're blitzing. They're blitzed. What are we talking about?
Well, when you see a linebacker in the backfield knocking down a quarterback, that's a blitz. I haven't seen that yet. Have you?
Not yet. Not in this game.
I haven't seen too many quarterbacks get hit at all, for that matter.
Oh, look at this. Look at this combination.
You think he's getting pointers or giving pointers?
At this point, maybe Joe has sidled up to Warner for some advice.
Joe knows he's no dummy, you know. Get next to the guy, gets the most airtime.
Joe Montana. And we'll be hearing from Joe before this half is too far along. He and Kurt Warner. They brought back a lot of old Pro Bowl stars from the past. We saw Montana and ran into John Brody before.
You did?
I sure did. The old 49er quarterback, member of the Senior Golf Tour.
No, it's a better sport to be playing at his age.
Yes, it is. At any age, I think. Michael Strahan of the Giants. Almost every team is represented. 27 of the 31. The 4 teams not represented here today. The Cleveland Browns, the Atlanta Falcons last year, and the NFC champions, the Green Bay Packers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now that's pretty amazing.
Well, Pittsburgh, most amazing because I believe it's not since 1950 has that happened.
That's right. And a lot of former Steelers are in the game today. Jason Hansen to kick off. And Terry Glenn will run it back. He drops it in the end zone. And then he'll just down it there. And again, with Tremaine Mack, their run back specialist, fracturing his wrist in the first half, they go to others to run back kicks, and Terry Glenn has to down at the end zone for a touchback. Now Mark Brunell will come out. And there is Mack with that wrist already wrapped.
Well, what else can go wrong for the Cincinnati Bengals? The last thing you want is to have one of your better players on the sideline with a broken wrist.
Sam Madison getting the scoop from Mack as the AFC starts at the 20-yard line. Brunell, the quarterback. Edgerrin James in the backfield, and the Indianapolis rookie up to the 21-yard line. It'll be second down and 9. Leslie, aloha nui, aloha to you.
Is that the one that means Merry Christmas? I'm not sure, Al. But this guy was considered maybe the greatest quarterback ever. MVP of 3 Super Bowls, won 4, done just about everything anyone could want from a quarterback. Congratulations to you, Joe Montana. You were over here talking to Kurt Warner. What kind of a conversation was that?
Oh, it was basically congratulations to both of us. He was asking how it felt, and I said, it's a tremendous honor and it feels great. I said, it's kind of scary. Feels a little bit like you're in your grave, you're alive, and you can hear the dirt hitting your casket because, it's a game that I've played forever, and it's hard to you know, this is a finality to it all. So I've had a great career, and you still miss the game, though.
Well, Eddie DeBartolo called you and Ronnie Lott the heart and soul of the 49ers. You've chosen him as your presenter?
Yes, I have. I asked him right after the press conference, and he agreed to it, and I think it's just fitting. I mean, he was the big reason that turned that whole organization around and made it what it is today, and, you know, he means the world to me.
Now, is it true you were nervous before the selection?
You know, it's one of those things. We talked to Howie and Ronnie about the same thing. You're back there, and, you know, you're hoping for the best, but they ask you to come by the press conference, and we're back in the kitchen, and we're going, well, what do we do if you know, they don't call our name? We go out and bust tables. So, yeah, you can never say it's going to happen until it does. So.
Well, pretty good modesty. You wear it well. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Joe Montana.
Boy, he stuck a dagger in my heart.
Yes, he did. The 88 and a few other hearts too along the way, with Joe guiding his team to 4 Super Bowl triumphs, and Steve Young with the 5th for San Francisco. And there is a floater. Nobody's home except John Lynch.
Well, Todd Light knows that he is going to get flagged here because it was pass interference against Keyshawn Johnson. And to his credit, he just threw the ball out of bounds and said, well, let's get it over with. They tried a little pump and go, and John Lynch was hanging over the top, and Keyshawn just got cut off. There's a lot of pointing and figuring going on out here now.
Against the AFC.
Now, if it's against the AFC, now Todd Light shouldn't have thrown the ball out of bounds.
Yeah. Well, that's what's confusing about this
Keyshawn's
right now.
even going over here.
Illegal contact. Defense.
Okay.
5-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down.
Could you imagine if they would have called it the other way?
Yeah, well, White originally signaled offense.
Here, take a look at
Doesn't
this.
make any sense.
Here's a little pump and go, and Light runs out in front and grabs him. And watch Keyshawn try to grab the flag right here. It looked like he was receiving a punt.
Meanwhile, Gardner has his ankle wrapped. Chris, in all likelihood, done for the day. First down now from the 37-yard line. James out to the 40-yard line. James, one of several University of Miami players in the game. In fact, 6 Hurricanes are in the game. You've got Cortez Kennedy, Leon Searcy, Tremaine Mack, James, Jesse Armstead, and Warren Sapp. There they are, the half dozen, and Ray Lewis, and we know about Lewis, charged with a double murder in Atlanta. Would have been the 7th University of Miami Hurricane.
To alumnus before the game, Jim Kelly. And you talk about a big-time college program. There it is.
This is Keyshawn Johnson up to the 43-yard line.
When you watch Edgerrin James run with the football, you could see just how truly special he is. He's 6 foot, about 215 pounds, and when he gets around players, he doesn't go down. He bends, gets lower, and somehow shoots forward and delivers a blow as opposed to absorbing one. And the great running backs are able to do that.
3 yards to go at the AFC 44.
When you watch film of all these great running backs in this league and the ones in the past, and you turn on the film and you watch, very rarely do they shy away from contact. They look to deliver the blow before absorbing one.
3rd and 3, and that is incomplete, intended for Terry Glenn. Terry Glenn replacing Tim Brown, who was injured.
That was a nice play by Jesse Armstead that time, reading the formation, reading the play, and making a break on the football. It's when you watch athletic linebackers like he and Derek Brooks, they're special players. He reads the play. He doesn't see the ball coming, but he reads the play and he knows where the football is going to.
Off the leg of Armstead. Now back deep to receive Randy Moss, who ran back a number of punts this year for the Minnesota Vikings. Tom Tupa's kick off the side of his foot and out of bounds at the 33, and there's a flag down up at the 42.
They'll decline this penalty and take the ball.
22-yard punt. Tom, no doubt, thinking about going home. His wife expected to deliver their 4th child on Wednesday.
On the right side of the end of the line. That penalty is declined. First down for the
I asked Tom the other day, I said, how many kids do you have? He says, this is the 4th and final. I said, is that your final answer? He
That's
says,
your final
bet.
answer.
27-21 NFC.
32-75.
For the 37th straight year, ABC presents the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. They're held in Cleveland Saturday. In our afternoon presentation, men's competition, Michael Weiss, Timothy Gable, among others, Michelle Kwan, then in prime time with the women at night this coming Saturday right here on ABC. From the 34-yard line, Brad Johnson to throw, and that is caught by Randy Moss for a gain of about 9. Leslie, what do you have?
Well, this is one man who's glad he had a pedicure, Al. Chris Carter. What did you do on that play?
Oh, my ankle got twisted up with Woodson up underneath him. It's the same way that I tore the ligaments during the regular season.
Well, remember, you came back and played on Monday night, so in 8 days you'll be ready to go?
Well, a little different circumstance now. I'm glad that I'm okay. I'll just wait till I get back to the States and get me an MRI, but I think everything will be okay.
You had a tremendous year. What did it mean to be the Walter Payton Man of the Year?
Well, it really capped off my season. Not only what I accomplished on the field, but, with all that's going on with athletes off the field, it's nice to receive recognition, especially in Super Bowl 34 when they changed the name of the award to the Walter Payton Award. It is the highlight of my career so far.
That's the 34. And what about with the Vikings? You've come so close the last couple of years. Now you have a new offensive coordinator.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. He's used to having high-powered offenses, and I'm sure that he realized he has something to work with. We've got a quarterback situation to work out. But I'm sure that, Coach Green is doing everything that he can to put the best team on the field, and we look to challenge for Super Bowl 35.
Sherman Lewis should help you, and, you do pretty well. You ought to think about broadcasting.
Well, every once in a while. I think I got a few more years left in me. Everybody's trying to push me off the field into the booth, but not yet.
Not yet, so you guys are safe, Al.
Well, wait a minute. Who's trying to push him off the field into the booth?
I'm not pushing him off the field. He's too good. He should keep playing.
Middle of the defensive line. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
How about what's happening in Minnesota, though? I mean, with all the changes on that coaching staff, and there are reports now that they're not going to try to keep Jeff George, that they'll go into the season with Randall Cunningham and Dante Culpepper, and Denny Green shuffling the offensive and defensive staffs. They're bringing in basically the staffs from Green Bay.
And Brad Johnson, who had Cunningham not had that fabulous year, would still be in all likelihood in Minnesota, but he's in Washington. Hits Muhammad here for a short gain.
Well, there's another Ram, Adam Timmerman. He's loving this. See, he's an offensive lineman. He's on the side. He's underneath one of those cool fans that are blowing that cool water on him. He loves that. And there's Orlando Pace, the big left tackle.
First guy picked in the draft in '97, and Mike Allstott takes it to the 35-yard line. Rams with 8 guys in the Pro Bowl, 6 starters, the first 6 there, and then Timmerman was named as a replacement, and so was DeMarco Farr. So the interesting thing, Boomer, is that a lot of times in the Pro Bowl, guys get sent to the Pro Bowl off their reputations from prior years, and then others don't get there until a year later. But everybody seemed to be in sync here with how good the Rams were, thinking they weren't a fluke. This ball takes it to the 30. On the other side of that equation, sometimes guys get an extra year in the Pro Bowl when they shouldn't have.
Well, when you think about especially the running back situation in the AFC, certainly all 3 guys belong here. There's no question about that. Eddie George and Corey Dillon, have had great years, and so has Edgerrin James. But what about a guy like Curtis Martin from the New York Jets, who had another tremendous season for that team, and he's not here. So not everybody can make it, and there are probably some guys that are on both of these rosters that are here because of reputation, but they built that reputation, and maybe they should get a freebie.
Second down and 5. Flip back to Marshall Faulk. To the 29, he's taken down by Javon Curse. And let's go down to Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Dan.
Thank you. I'm with 12-time Pro Bowler Bruce Matthews and first-time Super Bowler.
Yeah, it was a great year. It's been a long year. This is the longest I've played football for any time of my life, so this is a good way to wind it up.
Well, you made it to the Super Bowl. You've been very patient to getting there, so maybe a little more patience and you get over that hump.
Yeah, I was wondering if I'd ever get there, but it definitely was worth the wait, and hopefully we'll get back there next year.
How long are you going to play this great game?
I don't know. My brother played 19 years. I thought about tying him, but that's 2 more seasons. We'll just have to see how it goes.
And everybody wants to know why. What's the key to playing so long?
Oh, I've been blessed. The good Lord gave our family bodies that just can take the pounding. My brother played 19 years, and I just finished my 17th. So we've been blessed.
A good body, but a great heart and a great soul, too.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Al, back up to you.
All right, thank you. Clay Matthews, his brother, his father also played the penalty here against the NFC. And you know what? I look at Bruce Matthews, Boomer, and I think here's a guy who blocked for Archie Manning when Archie spent a brief spell with the Oilers. And today he blocks for Peyton Manning.
Well, the interesting thing there, they were talking about bodies and good bodies and bad bodies, and offensive linemen, I mean, they got big bodies. That's what I would think about.
3rd and 8. Randy Moss makes the catch and nearly gets into the end zone. He's out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Spin move after the catch, 30-yard gain. Moss now with 6 receptions for 147 yards. That's the most yards ever gained in receptions in the Pro Bowl.
Look at this, Al. Watch when he catches the football. Watch how he turns to the inside. Oh, and Woodson, who is athletic as they come in the secondary, gets juked a little bit. And when he has it all going on, when he's concentrating and making plays, boy, he is explosive. Randy Moss.
Almost unstoppable. Allstott seeking his 3rd touchdown. Comes up a yard shy. He may get another pop at it.
Well, I think of that. If I were in this game, I'd just look for number 84, throw it up, and let him go make a play. Well, do you give it to Allstott again, or do you give it to Marshall Faulk here? Probably give it to Allstott right up the middle. What do you think?
See if he can get the hat trick. I would.
He is.
Yep, there he goes.
Touchdown.
Well, one thing about Allstott, when you've got your coach calling the plays, there's a good chance you're going to wind up with a football.
And remember, the rules state that when you're down inside like this, you can put your linebackers on the end of the line, but your defensive linemen cannot line up in the gaps. They have to line straight up on the guys across from them. They're allowed to slant, but it makes it for a huge advantage for those offensive linemen knowing where those defensive linemen are lined up when they're right over top of them. Straight ahead, easiest way to get it done.
Hansen for the conversion. Well, I don't know if anybody had a hat trick in the National Hockey League All-Star game.
Pavel Bure.
He did. So Bure in Toronto and Allstott in Honolulu on All-Star Sunday here on ABC.
Are you impressed that I knew that?
Very nice.
It's like Timothy Gable actually doing 3 quads in one, whatever you call it.
Yes. Here at the Pro Bowl, the Val Pinchbeck Award for Meritorious Service is given to an individual who makes a significant contribution to the success of this game. And the Hawaii Governor, Benjamin Cayetano, on the right, received the award. Val Pinchbeck, a longtime NFL broadcasting coordinator and a good pal of all of us.
I didn't know he had an award named after him.
Yes, he did. Gave a Coa Bowl to the governor.
Who gets the Al Michaels Award?
Boomer, you're going to get that right after the game. Right back at the pool as Terry Glenn takes it up to the 42-yard line.
Do I get that for putting up with you?
That's exactly right. Lifetime Achievement Award.
In 2 short years.
34-21 NFC.
Before I quit smoking, I asked my doctor, is
the rainbow.
So I had to put on 48 sun protection this week, Al.
Just 48?
Just 48.
And now it's on to Maui.
Here today, gone to Maui.
Meanwhile, 34-21, the NFC leads it. The AFC has it at the 40-yard line, first down. And this is Eddie George up to the 47 as they keep the rotation going. Rich Gannon back in at quarterback, and down to the sideline, and Leslie.
Alan, Boomer, as you guys know, every year the NFL honors a Teacher of the Year. This year it's Suzanne Byers, the elementary principal from Hayesville Elementary in Salem, Oregon, nominated by Scott Gregg of the Tackle of the Giants. Obviously, you made a big impression on Scott. Suzanne, congratulations. What do you think is the most important gift a teacher can give to a child?
Probably to be an active listener and to support them in all of their successes and to follow them along and make sure that each child is giving their personal best individually.
Well, Scott has obviously grown since you had him in the 3rd grade. What kind of a student was he?
He was a good student. He was very hardworking, very caring, and was just a great child to have in class.
Well, it's special for you both. Congratulations. Back to you, Al.
Thank you very much, Leslie.
It's a terrific program the NFL has, nominating these teachers and also head coaches. And I'm a firm believer that high school head coaches are makers of men, Al. And my high school head coach, Sal Ciampi, was that way for me, as most of these players will tell you how important it was for them to have those type of people in their lives when they were young men.
Right. Program every year, the teacher is honored. My favorite teacher was a professor by the name of Gordon Jones at Arizona State, who was.
But that was when you were in college.
He was
Al.
my journalist and professor.
You can't remember back to elementary school?
He went on to become a handicapper, a race handicapper for the LA Herald Examiner. He was my favorite teacher.
Well, there is Tom Gray. He is the longtime equipment man for the Cincinnati Bengals, 32 years. And this is his final game of loyal service to the NFL. And Sid Brooks, 27 years, the retiring equipment manager of the San Diego Chargers. Two guys who have seen a lot of football played. And
that's Sid Seaman, who is
the head linesman,
right,
who is officiating his last game.
Right.
22nd season.
3rd down and inches. And we've got a fumble. Corey Dillon dropped the ball. And the NFC recovers. Derek Brooks. So on 3rd and inches, Dillon cannot convert, and the NFC has the ball and a 13-point lead.
And look who's right there, the two linebackers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brooks makes the play by ripping the ball out of Corey Dillon's arms and then also falling on it. Warren Sapp was the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year, but this guy had to have serious consideration in that award. He has been all over the field for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we've seen him make play after play today here at the Pro Bowl.
Now Steve Berline comes in, and Berline, concluding his 13th season with his first Pro Bowl trip, turns and gives the ball to Emmitt Smith, who's taken down by Junior Seau behind the line of scrimmage.
Now, before we leave those equipment guys, those guys are the unsung heroes. Those are the guys that deal with players on a daily basis. Everybody in the league wants something, needs a certain thing fitted a certain way, and Tom Gray and Sid Brooks are two of the great old pros, and we're going to miss them. I know we'll miss Tom in Cincinnati. I played with him for 11 years, and he's a tremendous asset to that organization.
2nd down and 13. Flags down, and Berline gets taken down, and there is the first sack of the game, if it holds up after the penalty call. Kevin Hardy of the Jaguars.
Now, is Kevin Hardy a linebacker, Al?
Kevin Hardy is a linebacker.
What is he doing hitting down the quarterback?
He might have been lined up in a down position.
He's not allowed to be lined up in a down position.
Exactly right. Too late.
And you can see this. What is Kevin Hardy doing? That's what Tony Dungy is saying.
Right.
And here comes Kevin Hardy. He's blitzing right up the middle. There he goes. Oh,
exactly.
What is that? And Tony Dungy's on the field screaming.
Taking out 8 yards.
No. You know, see, this is the type of thing that can get guys injured, too, because the quarterback is not looking for that.
I'm sure that made Jerry Richardson's heart skip a beat. The owner of the Panthers is here watching the game today.
I don't know what.
George Seifert may have come off his couch in Charlotte as well.
Oh, look, he's laughing too. That's not too funny. That's hitting the ultimate defenseless guy, because the quarterback, obviously in all games, is going to find out where those linebackers are, and they're going to see if they're blitzing. But in this game, you're told before don't worry about it.
There is Jerry Richardson.
Right there.
Seated.
Little Poi.
Next to Fox's
Who's
Dick
this guy?
Stockton. That's Dick Stockton.
I thought it was Dick Visser.
Dick is part of the wives tour on this trip.
He makes your tea times, basically, is what he does. Isn't that what, come on, isn't that what he does?
That is his raison d'etre. Absolutely. There's no question about it.
So who won?
Never mind. I'll let Leslie report on that.
All right.
First down from the 33-yard line. Mike Allstott takes it to the 26-yard line. And let's check in with Dan Fouch. Dan.
Thank you, Al. I'm here with Keyshawn Johnson. And Keyshawn, the Jets finished the season absolutely as one of the best teams in the league. Now changes in the offseason.
Yep, a lot of changes. So I'll find out about that once the Pro Bowl's over with, and I'll, get in contact with the people over there because I hadn't been in contact with them since January 2nd.
What about in contact with Vinny Testaverde? How's he doing?
He's doing well. He's throwing the football a little bit there toward the end of the year, so I'm looking for him to be, as good as normal.
There's a potential for a quarterback controversy there. As one of the leaders on the team, what will you do to try to smooth that out?
Ain't no quarterback controversy. That's the media. Vinny's the starter. We all know that. Ray's going to probably be our number 2 quarterback. And if anything goes wrong with Vinny, then Ray will step in a lot earlier this year.
And he did a great job stepping in for Vinny.
Did a wonderful job for us.
All right, keep up the good work, Keyshawn. Back up to you, Al.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
All right, I'm talking to Keyshawn Johnson this week. I said, Key, have you talked to your new coach, Al Groh? And he said, well, I was sitting in my office with my agent, and a guy called up and he said he was Al Groh.
A 3rd and 7. This is Moss to the 10-yard line.
He said he was Al Groh, and we didn't believe him because he said he was going to move me to tailback to make sure that I get about 50, 60 touches a game, and we hung up on him. I said, are you sure that wasn't really Al Groh? And to this day, he told me, I'm not really sure if I hung up on my new head coach or not.
He'll hear tomorrow.
Well, Al Groh, I'm sure, is listening to this right now. But look at how elusive he is, Randy Moss, when he catches that football.
7 carries for 166 yards. Emmitt Smith takes the ball down to the 7-yard line.
Now, it's interesting the way that whole thing transpired between the Patriots and the Jets, but take a look at this. Pro Bowl record on 166 yards of receptions. And I think Al Groh, from my own personal standpoint, is a good choice to succeed Bill Parcells. He's been a long-time assistant. He knows how Parcells has built this team, and he will do a fine job as the new head coach of the New York Jets. An assistant who deserves the opportunity to get a shot at being a head coach.
Here is Emmitt Smith on 2nd and goal, taking it to the 5. He's wrapped up there by Kevin Hardy. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
Then conversely, Bill Belichick gets the job that he wanted. And Al, I want to go on record saying we want that game. We want the New England New York Jet game, don't we?
That would be a good game on a Monday night. I'll tell you another great game would be Tennessee at Jacksonville. We started to mention before, Jeff Fisher had said, and I don't know whether he said it kiddingly or what.
He said it kiddingly.
Well, that, Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville was sort of like another home for the Titans, and believe me,
for home field advantage.
Tom Coughlin heard all about it. 3rd down and goal. And Moss trying to one-hand it, looking back into the sun and couldn't, covered by Charles Woodson. 4th and goal. Tom Coughlin.
Take a look at this. This is one of those plays where you just try to throw the ball over the head of the defender and let Randy Moss go make a play, but you can see Charles Woodson has the presence to actually try to knock the ball away. A lot of young DBs don't have that ability to make a play on the ball. But if he didn't have it, he wouldn't be over here in Hawaii at the Pro Bowl.
Right. Jason Hansen, 23-yard attempt. Well, Tony Dungy has been the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 4 years. In no game has he seen his team score as many as 37 points. But his NFC team has today to go up by 16. Here's a reminder coming up this Wednesday. Playboy Playmates, the Dom triplets, are putting the moves on Norm, it says right here on this card, on an all-new episode Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, right here on ABC.
National Honor Society presidents and Legion Scholars, the Newman Center, and the Architecture Club.
University of Hawaii hat right there.
The team's losing.
What a great place to grow up, Hawaii. Or never grow up. This is Corey Dillon from the 7-yard line, bringing it back out to the 28-yard line. With 1:52 left in the third. High scoring affair with the NFC up 37-21. Live boogie boarding camera honing in.
Did you do the boogie boarding contest this week? I didn't see you out there.
I have done a few of those in the past.
I did not see you out there.
On surfing, boogie board. Warren Sapp.
Working the cameras now, huh?
Truly a man, as they say, who can do it all.
If he only knew what the per diem was like, he'd put the camera down.
That's right. At the 28-yard line, Peyton Manning back to pass. And going deep and out in front and making the catch is Terry Glenn, but he started to stumble and can't go to the end zone, taken down to the 23-yard line. Terry Glenn of the New England Patriots, who replaced the injured Tim Brown.
Nice throw by Peyton Manning, just leading Glenn down the field. Brian Dawkins get caught underneath it, you could see right there, and Todd Light misses the play.
48 yards.
Actually, that's Troy Vincent and Todd Light.
From the 23-yard line. Terry missing the G on the back of his uniform. It looked like Ellie on it. I guess it's a downsizing move. All right, Leslie, what do you have?
Well, what do I have? I have Warren Sapp running the camera and Randy Moss here to be interviewed. You think this guy's handling this?
I guess he's good. I think it was his major in college. You know, at UN for the years he did stay. He majored in, whatever you want to call it.
Video communication?
There you go.
Well, he's got his hand all wrapped up. You think we're even on the picture?
I don't know. Sapp, we on? See, we on. There we go. Yes, ma'am. We're
Okay.
on.
What about for you, Randy? You set a Pro Bowl record here with 7 catches for 166 yards. Did you know this?
No, I don't really go to anywhere thinking about a record. I think records are meant to be broken. And, you know, playing an all-star game like this, you're going to get so much talent in an all-star. So no matter if it's receptions, picks, touchdowns, sacks, whatever it may be, records are meant to be broken.
Does Kurt Warner throw a pretty nice ball?
I like that. I think Kurt, you know, over the past couple of years, you know, there's been a lot of talk about guys being, you know, overrated and underrated. But I think I got to give a lot of credit to Kurt and what he's accomplished this year. And, you know, the things he done in practice, even though he got here a little late. You know, we made things click today, and he threw a nice ball.
We got here late for a good reason. Congratulations to you, and Warren, well done.
I got to tell you something. He's running a stunt with that zoom.
In, out, in, up, down. He can hold it steady, though, can he?
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, man. Warren Sapp.
Somebody tell him what the per diem is, and he'll put the camera down.
Quarter ending, and they get the play off, but it's a fumble. And then Manning has to fall on it at the 15. So the AFC trying to get back into it, down by 16 as the third quarter ends. NFC leading 37-21, the fourth quarter of the Pro Bowl. After this from our ABC stations. 16-point lead for the NFC. Third down at the 15-yard line for the AFC as Manning throws and overshoots Tony Gonzalez.
Oh, if he just takes a little bit off, Al, he has a touchdown, and he pumps inside, which holds Dexter Coakley, and all he has to do is lay it up there for Tony Gonzalez to go get it, and he tries to pinpoint and throw it and drill it. There's the little pump. He holds Dexter Coakley, and Gonzalez comes right out the sideline there. Look at that. Ooh.
Now a 33-yard field goal attempt by Olindo Mare of the Miami Dolphins. Tom Tupa to hold it, and that kick is good. They were looking for 8 to cut it to within 8. Instead, they settled for 3, and the NFC now leads by 13, 37-24.
Scouting, maybe? I don't know.
Snorkeling.
Fishing.
Kick fielded at the 11-yard line by Michael Bates. And the Olympic sprinter puts it on the ground, and then it is knocked out of bounds very alertly by Brian Dawkins to make sure the NFC maintains possession.
Very smart play by Brian Dawkins, realizing that he can't get his hands on the ball, but he can smack it out of bounds, and the NFC retains possession.
Zach Thomas created that fumble, so the NFC will take over at its own 34-yard line. So Thomas will come in.
Oh, right there. And take a look at Dawkins. Smart play by Brian Dawkins.
Now Berline for the NFC. AFC looking as if they were going to blitz, and Marshall Faulk is taken down behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, you know who that is? That's Junior Seau playing around up there, and he does that normally for the San Diego Chargers during the season. Really one of the glaring omissions on the Pro Bowl roster when it first came out. Remember, he's here replacing Ray Lewis of the Ravens, and this guy has been a tremendous football player for a long time, and he's used to this game, so he knows the things that he can get away with. And all he's trying to do is make those offensive linemen get a little jittery up there.
2nd and 11 as Berline works the deep middle. Nobody is there. Intended for Muhsin Muhammad, his regular season teammate. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, this is where Tony Dungy said that he wanted to put his quarterbacks on the field with the guys that he's used to. And Wesley Walls, the tight end, is out there, and Muhammad as wide receiver. And this is the first time that I've really gotten an opportunity to meet Muhammad and see him in person. He is 6'2", probably about 222, 223 pounds. He looks like a tight end and snatches the ball cleanly with his hands.
3rd and 12, looking for Moss, and Randy Moss pulls it in at the 47-yard line. Tackled there by Sam Madison. Earlier in the game, you thought that Kurt Warner would have been the leading candidate for MVP in the game, but right now when you take a look at this guy, 8 catches for 187 yards. There's your leader.
And this is this little down and in pattern that they were trying to get on Charles Woodson earlier in the game and Sam Madison. When you play against Randy Moss, you're outside, you're afraid of giving up the big play, so you'll give him the inside move like this. And what Berline does a nice job of is throwing it low, allowing Moss to go down and get it, and not take a big hit from the free safety.
Marshall Faulk, big hole, big hit. Lawyer Malloy comes up.
And that's why you throw the ball low when you're running patterns down the field, so guys like Lawyer Malloy can't come in and take your head off. There's another one of those free agents now. I believe Lawyer Malloy's contract is up. And I'm sure that Bill Belichick, the new coach of the New England Patriots, wants him back very badly. Take a look at that hit. Oof. That's the way you deliver a lick when you're a safety in the NFL.
Malloy indeed is a free agent. A lot of much sought after free agents in this game as Alstott takes to the 39. Simeon Rice of the Cardinals, Stephen Davis of the Redskins, Robert Porcher of the Lions, Tony Brackens of the Jaguars might be the top 4, and they're all in the game. Dan Fouts, down to you, Dan.
Thank you, Al. I'm with Titan tight end Frank Wycheck, and Frank, probably one of the most famous plays, if not the most famous finish of all time, touchdown throwback. How has your life changed since that play?
It's changed a little bit, a lot of more attention. It's just been awesome. It's an awesome play to be a part of in that scenario, that time of the game. It was just a great all-around play.
The biggest thing about that play, obviously, was it a lateral, was it backwards, or was it forward?
Well, I think, I know in my mind that it was definitely a lateral. Where I released it and where he caught it, there's no doubt in my mind.
How about the talents of Steve McNair? How does that, his talents, fit your talents as a tight end?
Well, I just think when Steve gets in trouble, he's so good at scrambling and getting out of bad situations that, I'm able to be in his sight when he's on the move, and he's able to find me on occasion. He just does an all-around great job. What a warrior the guy is.
I can already see the motto for next year, 1 more yard, huh?
1 more yard. That last play will stick with us for a while. It still stings, but it'll make us work that much harder.
All right, thanks, Frank.
All right.
Up to you, Al.
All right, Dan, and Woodson makes the fair catch. The AFC will take over, down by 13 at their own 9.
No.
Season winds down.
That guy come by boat?
I don't know what sort of a boat it was, but they might have had some refreshments on that boat. At the 10-yard line.
That'd be one of those Viking boats.
Right. Mark Brunell throws, and it's intercepted at the 20-yard line by Derek Brooks. And he goes in for the touchdown. Robert Porcher Porsche forced the issue. Good rush that time, and Boomer talked about the great year that Derek Brooks has had in Tampa Bay, and he'll cap it off with a touchdown in the Pro Bowl.
Well, you're right, Al. Robert Porsche did force the issue. He forced Mark Brunell to throw the ball before he wanted to. But I just can't say enough of how athletic and how easy he makes it look and how explosive a player Derek Brooks is. This has got to be the odds-on favorite for next year's defensive MVP in the league. Not to take anything away from his teammate Warren Sapp, who won it this year. But this guy can do so many things for you. Rush the passer, cover tight ends. He knows how to play in his zones, and he certainly showed there that he can catch the ball and run with it after he catches, like most receivers in this league.
Meantime, the NFC needed to have 11 guys on the field. They only had 10, so Berger ran all the way over to the bench to bring Hardy Nickerson back out to play a wing for the extra point attempt by Hansen, which is good. Touchdown Brooks, touchdown NFC, and they now lead 44-24.
Old, the 8-year-olds, he's not even paying attention.
Or 48-year-olds, what does it matter? This is Terry Glenn, 2 yards in. Up to the 34-yard line. Let's go down to Leslie.
Well, guys, Derek Brooks said that was his first interception return for a touchdown. Pretty good place to do it. What happened on the play, Derek?
Well, actually, Gonzalez ran inside, and the other linebacker picked him up, and I was free. That's the play that was hurting us on in the first half. And Coakley got a pick off the first time, and this time I was just thankful enough to catch it and run it in the touchdown.
Was that great to see that you were going to score? You were saying that Warren Sapp's always been holding his touchdown over you.
Yeah, he has for 4 years. He's been holding it over my head, but right now he has nothing else to say to me. So there's a foot race from now on to see who gets our second touchdown.
Well, congratulations to you. Boomer Esiason always says maybe you should have been Defensive Player of the Year.
Tell Boomer I appreciate his support.
Back to you guys.
Okay, Les, and this is Gannon throwing, and it is incomplete. Pass is not held by, that's Sam Gash, the second time he's hit by Dexter Coakley, who earlier had an interception.
I think when you think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the people that they have here just on defense, Lynch, Nickerson, Brooks, and Sapp, that they have to be pretty much the odds-on favorite to have to play St. Louis next year. You know, the way they did this year in the NFC Championship game. If they can get that offense straightened out and Sean King takes the next step and they bring in an offensive coordinator maybe like an Al Saunders, they can be a very explosive team. They have tremendous talent on that football team.
Interestingly, St. Louis will play at Tampa Bay next year during the regular season. There is Monty Kiffin.
Have you thought about some of the teams next year that might get back into it, Al?
Well, after this year, I'm so confused. I mean, who would have ever thought the Rams, the Colts would go from 3-13 to 13-3?
Well, when you think of the Colts and you think of Peyton Manning and his progression, you'd have to think that, yeah, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here now for the next 4 or 5 years as long as he stays healthy.
Gannon, that's a fumble and not the arm coming forward, and then he throws an incomplete pass. And I don't think San Francisco dead either. I think a lot of people are writing them off prematurely, Boomer. In the meantime, speaking of San Francisco, here's the old San Francisco native, Mr. Dan Fouts.
Thank you, Al. Dave Wilcox was selected to the Pro Bowl 7 times in his 11 seasons with the 49ers, and he joins me now on the sidelines. And Dave, 30 years ago, I was the ball boy for the 49ers, and you were the star, but I got to ask you, what took you so long to get to the Hall of Fame?
Well, Dan, you didn't give me the pointers that I needed 30 years ago. You messed around with the water bucket too much.
Bring back some memories about the 49ers. Everybody knows about the Montana 49ers, but tell us about the Wilcox Niners.
Well, that was back when we actually didn't win as many games, and we played in Kezar, and we didn't fold our helmets up like some people thought. But we had some good teams. You know, we kind of, in a couple of years, we played the Cowboys and had a tough time, but we at least got to play some games and had a great time.
What are the people in Vail, Oregon doing tonight?
You know, I'm not quite sure. I bet they're having a great time, and I've had a lot of calls here recently about all this. So, well, you know, it's real special, and it's been a great road for us.
You know, Boomer Esiason was talking about Frank Wycheck being from Maryland. Well, this is a University of Oregon Duck, and I'm proud to say that he joins me, Norm Van Brocklin and Mel Renfro in the Hall of Fame.
Isn't that something? I'm glad to join you guys.
You bet. Up to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Dan. Dan Fouts. A lot of people, I think, have forgotten that Dan was the ball boy because his father, Bob,
was the announcer.
Was the play-by-play announcer
Yes.
for the San Francisco 49ers.
Actually, we were on the field before the game, and they were showing some of those old highlights. And Dan said, "You hear that guy talking?" Yeah. Is that Al Michaels? He said, "No, that's my dad."
Oh, yeah, and that mellifluous voice. You could hear it all the way from Sacramento to Cow Hollow to Monterey.
You got it in, didn't you?
You betcha.
Attaboy.
First down at the 34-yard line for the NFC. Steve Verline gives the ball to Marshall Faulk. Taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Mo Lewis.
You know, speaking of Mo Lewis, he's another free agent, and the Jets have to try to sign him. So there are a lot of talented football players out here. Mo Lewis was one of the need players that was selected by Tom Coughlin because of his ability to play inside and outside. The Jets, I think, are going to be another team that will be back into the thick of things, as well as the Broncos. Two teams, you know, that were playing about as well as anybody the second half of the season.
Well, the Broncos in particular, because the Broncos, among other things, next year get the 5th place schedule by virtue of finishing last in the AFC West. Allstott up to the 39-yard line.
So much of it is contingent on injuries and some of these free agent signings and defections from your team, and certainly the Jets don't want to lose a player like Mo Lewis, as the Bucs don't want to lose a player like Hardy Nickerson. I mean, these guys have been with these franchises and have been basically the heart and soul of their defenses.
Stephen Davis, Redskin running back, emerging this year.
And another free agent right now.
They could put the franchise tag on him, though, if they had to. 3rd down and 4. Moss adjusting, but it's incomplete, covered by Charles Woodson.
Well, when you were talking about the Arizona Cardinals and Simeon Rice as probably the most sought-after free agent because of his ability to rush the passer, the Cardinals may not be able to franchise tag him because there is a hearing scheduled to listen to arguments on behalf of the NFLPA saying that they illegally used their franchise tag on Rob Moore last year. So this guy could find himself, if they find in favor of the NFLPA, the Players Association, Simeon Rice can find himself out there, and he could get a nice hefty contract.
That should be determined very shortly. This is fielded by Woodson at the 2-yard line. His momentum was stopped even though he didn't go down, hit by Jesse Armstead. Only in the Pro Bowl does a guy field a punt at his own 2.
Well, Jesse Armstead is now going to be on the special teams for the Giants. Not too happy about that. Your 2-minute package, and you're going to have to do a lot of running.
Right. This is Manning throwing, and that is caught by Jimmy Smith. Let's go down to Leslie Visser. Les?
Al, he has played in his 11th Pro Bowl, 12 years, the great Randall McDaniel. There are rumors. Are you thinking of retiring?
I never said retirement. I told them at the end of the year I had to see how my body would feel. Decide if all the business side of it is fun anymore. I want to deal with all that. I mean, salary cap things they're saying it's been a problem and all that stuff. But no, basically, I need to take some time off, see let the body heal up, and decide what's going to be good for me and my family.
If you do come back, what do the Minnesota Vikings do?
What do they need to do?
What's missing?
What's missing? Well, like I said, we need to get a little help on defense over there. I mean, hopefully we can bring some guys back, Jeff George and the rest of them, and keep the offense intact. But if we can do that and get some help on defense, I think we'd be all right.
Well, we hope you come back. Is it true you were a high school sprinter?
Yes, it is true. I did. I ran the 100 and 200. I'll even give you my times. I ran a 10-600 meters and a 21-9 200. Then I threw shot and disc just for the fun of it.
Well, we're impressed. Thanks a lot, Randall. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Leslie. Randall McDaniel, 11 straight Pro Bowls. Manning throws. And Boomer, when you look at the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's tough with the offensive linemen because they dwell in relative anonymity, but when you look at his career and you play 12 years and you've been to 11 Pro Bowls, I mean, that's almost automatic enshrinement.
That's a cinch, and he should be in, and there's no question about that. And that's basically what you look at, is how many Pro Bowls have they played in. And I had the opportunity to play with Anthony Munoz, and I can't tell you how valuable guys like Ian McDaniel truly are to your team and the substance of your team. And those are the guys that make it all go.
On first down, stopped at the line of scrimmage.
You know, my old high school coach who played the offensive line at Purdue when Bob Greasy was there, our colleague, once taught me a prayer, Al, and it was the old lineman's prayer, and it went like this: we work the hardest, we're known the least, but who cares, for we are the reason. And every lineman should probably have that written on their gravestone, because ultimately they are the reason whether or not you win or lose. The quarterbacks get all the money and all the fame, but those are the guys that make it go.
And they get their names mentioned normally in conjunction with a flag being thrown by the umpire. And that is caught by Jimmy Smith, who's loose and on his way to the end zone. 52 yards. And Manning says, let's go for 2.
And what a play by Peyton Manning as the pocket is collapsing around him, delivering a strike to Jimmy Smith. This is where those offensive linemen, they kind of get a little tired and they just hang in there. Watch this. Just holding on that ball to the final second, having enough arm strength to get it over the top of Coakley. And we've seen Jimmy Smith do this time and again this season. Look at this.
Third touchdown reception for Smith. You saw Manning running down the field, go for 2, but the coaches on the sidelines, they're doing the math. And when you're down by 14, you go for 1. You don't have to go for 2. So in comes the kicking unit. Peyton saying, well, wait a second now. Extra point is good. Manning is thrown for 270 yards. But he only gets a C+ in math.
Right. Take a look at this as Jimmy Smith coming across the top right here. Lance Schulters, number 30, takes a bad angle for a safety, and Smith is smart enough to know where all the pursuit is coming from, goes against the grain and makes a nice run. And Peyton Manning, well, that's what you got to do as a quarterback. Just hang in there and hold it as long as you can, knowing that you're going to take a shot and then delivering it accurately.
This is by far the highest scoring game in the history of this series now. The highest scoring game until now was the NFC 37, the AFC 27 in 1980. That's the first game in this series played in this stadium. And right now we have a total of 75 points on the board.
Take a look at Peyton Manning's numbers. Remember, he got off to a poor start in this game and then basically righted himself, and now has taken his team down twice in 2-minute drills for touchdowns. A whole bunch of guys here you could look at for MVP, I guess.
Sure. Well, Randy Moss right
still
now.
got to be the favorite.
Yep. 8 catches, 187 yards. Now, you have a brand new special teams unit, well, on both sides. So, you have an onside kick here.
Still 3 timeouts left. I could see him maybe dribbling it down the middle possibly and trying to catch them off guard a little bit. In the middle is right here is John Lynch and then Jesse Armstead. Those guys are going to have to be awake. But Solindo Mari might be able to just dribble it right down the middle, but it doesn't look like it. Nope.
Kicks it conventionally. Bates, well, it's the Pro Bowl, so from 8 yards in, he's going to come out, and that's why he's here. Up to the 35. Nobody wants to see a touchback in the Pro Bowl. Let's go to Dan Pounce. Dan.
Thank you, Al. Jimmy, 3 touchdowns, all a little bit different. That was really special.
Oh, yeah? Well, got me an opportunity to show my run after the catch. That's what Peyton said in the huddle. You know, make a short catch and score with it. So that's what we did.
Take us through the route.
Well, it was just a basic end route. And, you know, Todd Light, he had been sitting on it a little while, so I decided to get him a head and shoulder on the outside and break it across. And Peyton just laid it in there, made it easy for me.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. Al, we've got Pavel Bury, Mike Alstott, and now Jimmy Smith. Hat tricks everywhere.
Hat tricks everywhere. I'll tell you one thing, Dan, as Marshall Faulk takes it up to the 41-yard line, you may want to go over there and kidnap Peyton Manning, because the record for most yards in a game by a quarterback is one Dan Fouts. There it is, 274 and 83. Mr. Manning is now 4 yards shy of that figure. And not only that, we closed your mic, Dan. Dan?
You know, Al, I've got some advice for Peyton Manning.
Yes.
Get out while the getting's good. It's a very physical game.
Dan, you can always say you had the most yards in the 1900s. It's as simple as that.
You got it.
Second and short here is Falk gets taken down back at the 40-yard line by Junior Seau.
And you know what's interesting about that, Al, is look where Junior Seau made the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, blitzing from his backside. Now, technically, a blitz, they say, is only against the pass. And if a linebacker reads the play, I guess he can make the play behind the scrimmage, line of scrimmage.
Meanwhile, the AFC will take a timeout here to conserve some of the clock. And we can tell you that the Pro Bowl game is being brought to you by Microsoft. Where do you want to go today? And Lexus, and our relentless pursuit of perfection.
Any unauthorized person entering the field is subject to arrest and fine.
What a day in Hawaii. Say that almost every day. Our 50th state.
And you know, I'll tell you, the host committee does a tremendous job out here. The city is just absolutely excited to have the NFL here, to have the players here, and they just treat everybody so well. It was great news to see that the NFL extended the contract with the state of Hawaii to bring us back here.
Master stroke for them to have the game here. The no-show rate amongst the players is very, very low because of it. Burline puts the ball on the ground and has to cover up at the 33. Trevor Price created the problem, and now the AFC will take another timeout, so they have a ton of time left. 5:15, they're down by 13, and the AFC still has one timeout plus the 2-minute warning.
AFC, second and third timeout, 30-second timeout.
NFC up by 13. Let's go down to the field, and once again, here's Leslie.
Al, I'm with a guy, a former sax player who led the league in sacks. Which is more difficult, the saxophone or getting to a quarterback?
Getting to the quarterback, especially when you have guys like this out here just throwing it downfield. These guys don't seem to be like fazed by our pass rush today, so they're throwing it up a lot.
Well, how tough was it? Of course, Kevin Carter with the Rams, the Super Bowl champions. How tough was it to get to McNair and Eddie George?
Well, it wasn't hard to get to him, but it's hard to bring him down. Both, phenomenal athletes. Steve McNair brings so much to the game. I mean, not only do you have to beat the guy in front of you, but you also have to concentrate on getting him down. I mean, he's fast, he's strong, he's elusive. Great quarterback.
What's it been like for you? Were you guys stunned when Dick Vermeil retired?
Really stunned. Kind of caught me off guard. I mean, he's an awesome guy. He brings a lot of heart, a lot of love to our organization. He'll be sorely missed. Really didn't expect him to retire that quickly after winning the big game.
And how do you think Mike Martz will be?
I think he'll be great. He's all business. He's a really, really smart person. I'm really impressed with the way, he carries himself and his whole demeanor the whole season long. So he'll be great for us.
You had a great year. Thanks, Kevin. Back to you guys.
Okay, thanks, Les. Woodson runs the kick back to the 17-yard line, and with 5:01 now left in the fourth quarter, the AFC has the ball, and they're down by 13.
Interestingly, to hear about a defensive lineman talking about a quarterback that's difficult to bring down.
Speaking about a quarterback difficult to bring down, our man Dan Fouts. Dan.
Thank you, Al. Peyton, you bounced back from that terrible interception just like I told you would, and you got him in the end zone a couple of times.
Well, thank you, Dan. It was that great question you asked me the first time that really motivated me, and to come back out and to throw a couple of touchdowns, and hopefully we can get a 2-minute drill here and come back and win this thing.
And you are 4 yards short of the all-time record for the Pro Bowl game.
Held by whom, do you know?
I have no idea, but listen, you just go over there and sit down and take the rest of the day off, kid.
Thank you, Dan.
Way to go.
Dan, he would sit down if he would get that leash off of his ankle. Brunell is in the game.
Interestingly, that Tom Coughlin decides to put Mark Brunell in this situation after Peyton Manning has had great success, but he is sticking to his rotation, if you will, and give Mark Brunell a chance here to win the game.
2nd and 10. Brunell slings it to the outside. Brunell, a couple of years ago, was the MVP in this game. That's caught by Gonzalez. Rich Gannon of the Raiders, the number 3 quarterback.
Well, if there's a point in the game where a quarterback's going to take some shots, you saw it series for Steve Berline. You saw it for Peyton Manning when he delivered the strike to Jimmy Smith. This is another area here because these defensive linemen for the NFC have no responsibility other than to get to that quarterback.
3rd and 9, and that's thrown errantly.
And if you saw that last pass rush from where we saw that angle, there was an illegal move by the defensive line. DeMarco Farr and Simeon Rice actually stunted, and they're not supposed to be doing that.
Well, it gets to the point, the game is played in a certain way at one point, but then at the end of the game, it's almost like it becomes a regular season game.
Take a look at this over here. DeMarco is going to go this way, and Simeon's going to come inside. You're not supposed to be doing that. There goes DeMarco, and around comes Simeon, and that's not. And they did it on the other side too. See, so they're cheating anyway. See, the defense is always going to be cheating out here.
You play this long, and I said it almost because we watched enough Pro Bowls to know if it's close at the end, all of a sudden they ratchet it up a little bit.
Yep.
As Randy Moss is back to receive the punt, fielded at the 25-yard line. And he almost broke free, brings it back to the 45-yard line, tackled by Marvin Harrison. Winners each get $25,000, losers get $12,500. Here's Leslie.
Just now, Emmitt Smith was saying it's a marvel to watch Randy Moss, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I thought he was going to probably return this one back for a touchdown for us and get the game over with, but he made a good return. We got a good field position. We can move from this point forward.
There are so many young guys here. Is it still special for you to come?
Oh, yeah. I enjoy coming every time, and I look forward to playing and look forward to getting out, too. So, you know, it's been a wonderful trip thus far.
What about for you? You had 1,300 yards this year. Now you have a new head coach. Where are the Cowboys headed?
Hopefully heading up, because we've been hanging around the bottom for quite a while, and hopefully we can turning things around fairly quick and win enough games, not just to get in the playoff, but do well in the playoff.
And for you, you're a perennial at the Pro Bowl, 30 years old. What do you see for you?
Some more Pro Bowls.
We hope
Super Bowls, I hope.
Thanks, Emmitt. Back to you guys.
Okay, Leslie, that's good news because a guy like Emmitt Smith, you don't want to see an Emmitt Smith retire.
No, you don't. And I win, Al, by the way. The over and under, or the first guy to take his shoulder pads off.
Yes.
I picked Emmitt Smith.
You did?
Yes, I did. And he's got his shoulder pads off, and he basically told Tony Dungy, I'm not playing anymore. That's it. I'm done.
That's normally a sign that a guy's done for the day, isn't it?
There he is. No shoulder pads.
On Leslie either. And
there's Leslie. Leslie just blocked my telestration.
Sun going down slightly early here in Honolulu.
You twist your ankle in the first half. How you feeling now?
I feel good. You know, it's a little tight right now. It's a little sore. You know, I guess it's just the whole season just coming on down on my back right now.
It was a one whale of a season to come down on your back, too.
Yeah, it was. It's great to finish off the way we did. The outcome of the last game didn't go the way we expected, but, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself and the team.
Right, you know, you come within 1 yard at least tying up the Super Bowl. What do you look forward to in the offseason? You think it'll really help with off-season workouts?
Oh, no question. I think our guys are looking forward to next season, and I think it's a building block definitely for a future. And I think, you know, we have a lot to work on off-season. We're going to work hard and get ready to take it again.
Did you help Jeff Fisher mend some fences with Tom Coughlin?
No comment.
Right. Thanks for Eddie George.
All right.
Al, up to you.
When you hear the word sore and stiff coming out of a player's mouth at a Pro Bowl, means that I'm not playing anymore.
Right. 3rd down and 8. Berline stepping up. Avoid the pressure, and he converts on 3rd down. It's to Muhammad, who then takes it all the way down to the 32-yard line. So the NFC trying to eat the clock, and Muhammad very much helping this one work its way to a climax in an NFC victory.
You talk about another exciting young player in the NFL. Take a look at Muhammad. He just runs hasty around. It's a nice route getting away. He makes a nice catch and then gets up. And you can see how strong he is. He's not easy to bring down. Look at how big his arms are. The new breed of athlete in the NFL, 6'2", 220 pounds, running a 4.440.
First down at the 32-yard line. The AFC has just one timeout left, plus the clock will stop at the 2-minute warning. All stop. Taken down at the 31-yard line. AFC has won the last 3. In fact, the AFC does not have a timeout, so only at the 2-minute warning will the clock be stopped. Talking about the NFL teams as the decade wound down.
Great.
The Bengals were last in the playoffs when Boomer was there.
There you go.
In '89, right?
Thank you.
Saints haven't made it since '92, and the Raiders, whether they were in Los Angeles or Oakland, number 3 on that chart, having won the bronze medal.
Now that's got to be a team, Al. The Raiders have got to be a team that's is so close. 8-8, 8-8. Much like Tennessee the last few years. You never know.
We'll see who emerges. Right now we have the 2-minute warning that has emerged with $1:54 to go, and then the season will be over. Making the NFL's best for what was not only a great season, but just a bizarre, wacky, wild, and pretty wonderful year in the NFL.
Well, if you're one of those small market teams, you have an opportunity, unlike some other major sports. The NFL is evenly distributed, and it comes down to good management, a little bit of luck, good players, and good coaching, and you have to have all of that, and that's why the Rams were able to take it all the way to the house this year.
3rd and 5. Mike Allstott tackled to the 25. There she is, Boomer, 93 million miles away.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer, baby.
You are a millionaire.
Thank you, Boomer.
Wasn't that the question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I believe it was recently.
Okay.
Sun setting in the not at this particular point.
No,
but that's what it will look like in about 2 hours and 20 minutes from now.
Okay.
Da, 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 da. Boomer, I'm going to take you back in the car. I'm going to croon to you all the way back.
No, you're not.
4th and 2. This is Burline. Into the end zone to Randy Moss. Now that doesn't cement MVP. Nothing will. Randy Moss just set a record, most receptions in a Pro Bowl game, 9. Already has the yardage record, and there's a touchdown. 212 yards for Randy Moss.
Steve Burline just dropping back in the pocket and throwing that little deep and in, and Madison hanging outside again. When you're playing against Randy Moss and you're a defensive back, I mean, you just have to hope that the pressure gets to the quarterback and don't allow that quarterback to sit back there and allow Randy Moss to run down the field like that. Just too talented to cover one-on-one.
Hansen for the extra point. 51 points for the NFC. So Moss has had a record-setting day. By far the highest scoring Pro Bowl in history. Every Pro Bowl should be like this, Boomer. Right off the street.
Well,
street football.
And that's the way it should be. It should be high-flying. Ball should be in the air, and players like Randy Moss should be allowed to make plays, and that's why the rules are set up the way they are. It's one-on-one, and most teams, if we've seen this year, they tried to double coverage Randy Moss with a safety over the top and the corner up underneath. And you put 2 guys on a guy like that. And it's up for guys like Javon Curse and Michael McCrary right there to get to the quarterback, to force the issue, not to let him get comfortable. But I would think the NFL's in a pretty healthy situation with a lot of their young stars. In terms of the ones that are here and that are playing well.
.105 remaining, and then as we reach the top of the hour, we will take you to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which you will see coming up at the end of the game, except on the West Coast, where you will see it later tonight. Boomer, what a year it's been, baby.
It's been a great year.
It's been fantastic.
Thank you very much.
A lot of fun. 30 years
working with you.
Hey.
Sultan.
I am going to croon to you on the way home tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to get that ukulele in the back seat.
Well, you know what made it so special, Al, was that Super Bowl, boy. I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
You know, a game that finally lived up to the billing, and so many great stories, first-time players in that game, and I guess Kurt Warner is probably the one player out here that does not want this season to end.
Yeah. if this is a dream, he doesn't want to wake up.
No.
Hanson to kick off. And a little bouncing ball up to the 31-yard line, and getting to run the kickback is Sam Gash. Back out to the 48, and there's a marker down.
I think you'll have offsides on the NFC.
Randy Moss, it is now official. Our producer Ken Wolf informs us that he has won the MVP honor.
You know, I would. Now he's taking his stuff off now. Coach, I'm done. Nice T-shirt.
Yeah,
what is that?
What is? It's a different kind of tank top.
Now I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the United States Navy. I had the opportunity to go over to visit the Arizona Memorial yesterday, and they have now the Missouri battleship is docked and it is out of service, so you can visit that as well. And you talk about a moving tribute to the men and women of our service, the Navy. Tremendous feeling of patriotism when you step on the Arizona Memorial.
Yeah, not far from here, in fact. It's right out the back door of the stadium, in effect, about a mile from here.
And when you see the Missouri, you can't believe how big it is. The battleship that ultimately was, let's take a look at this, and Edrin James saying, he knows guys are coming.
Yep. 2nd and 10. There they are, some of the Navy's finest. Looking on in the late afternoon. James run down by Coakley. And our thanks as our 30th year Monday night winds down to the great Ken Wolf, who has so magnificently produced this package over the last 14 years, and to Craig Janoff, the all-time best, who's been the director for 12 years, our great crew. Lynn Vandenberg, the old Badger, running the booth. George Hill, our statistician for the ages. Malibu Kelly Hayes. Steve Hurt, our director of information and everything else.
How about our
Ben
boy
Harvey,
Chris Pfeiffer?
Chris Pfeiffer, Jaime Bravo.
Billy Bowen.
Absolutely.
All of our cameramen. The staff, the hundreds of people that put in hours upon hours to bring this show every week to life.
That's right. Every Monday night, and we wrap it up on a Sunday afternoon in Hawaii. Gannon. Nope. Oh, and it will end with an interception at the 46-yard line by Brian Dawkins, and yet another AFC turnover. And I tell you what, Tom Coughlin has seen about as many turnovers as he'd like to see in his life.
You could see Rich Gannon
last
just
2 games
staring down Keyshawn Johnson and Brian Dawkins. Strong safety playing underneath, just reading it the whole way and just making a nice break on the ball. And talking about Tom Coughlin, speaking to him yesterday, the one thing that is apparent is that the Tennessee Titans are not out of his system yet.
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
Boy, he was going on about that championship game and the things that led to the problems in that game, especially the safety and some officiating calls. And you won't find a more intense coach in the NFL than this guy here.
His team has turned it over 6 times today, and the NFC will win it. The game will end on a kneel down. It's the highest scoring game in the history of the NFC Pro Bowl. A total of 82 points. There is your MVP. Randy Moss concludes his 2nd year. Tony Dungy with a big smile. His unit with an offensive show. Tremendous prowess tonight. Kurt Warner, brilliant beginning to the game. He wound up 8 of 11 for 123 yards. All-Star scores 3 touchdowns, as does Smith, as the National Conference wins at 51-31. We'll be back to wrap it in a moment.
How much power do you really need? The Sierra Extended Cab has the most powerful standard engine of any truck in its class. Not because you need it now, but because one day you will. And being prepared for that day is what having a professional-grade truck is all about. The GMC Sierra, above and beyond.
go to the play place.
Dreaming of a Disney cruise vacation? Then hurry to McDonald's and try the extraordinarily tasty Big Extra sandwich. The Big Extra is McDonald's newest, biggest burger. Or try one of your other favorites, and you could win an unforgettable Disney cruise vacation. There are still hundreds and hundreds to win. Who gives you the chance to win the vacation of your dreams? Did somebody say McDonald's?
That was some slide.
Log on to NFL.com for a recap of the entire season, including Super Bowl 34.
Kurt Warner's dream season ends. The NFC wins at 51-31. Randy Moss is the MVP. Al Michaels, Boomer Esiason, Leslie Visser, Dan Fouts. That's the story from Honolulu, with a reminder that coming up, except on the West Coast, who wants to be a millionaire? And we can also tell you ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. And this has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence as we bid you aloha from Hawaii.
ABC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League. Promotional consideration provided by National Garan, the official car.